Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the WSSR VRS Cup Series Season 11. Race 2 about to be underway after coming off of the back of Atlanta Motor Speedway's race last week to start the season off. We got to see a first-time winner of Joshua Kanata in the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Could we see a second one here tonight? Or could someone else that's been one of the stars of the past show up here this evening for The Rock? Rockingham is our second race that we get to see these drivers try to tackle. And we've heard from the drivers all throughout this week and even during this 1 hour practice they've been underway with. This track is tough and it's not getting any easier. But we're excited to give you all the coverage here again on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Join me up in the booth here this evening will be Richard Wolsifer. And Richard, we're coming off of last week. Probably one of the more exciting and chaotic finishes we could have asked for, but we are heading to a track where it is going to be tough, a handful, and everyone's still questioning how to run properly here tonight.
Yeah, the chaos and drama from Daytona was definitely one to watch, but here we are back at Rockingham, The Rock, as a lot of the drivers love to call this track. Very tough, short track style racing, a lot of banking, a lot of speed for these guys, and I mean, it's been kind of a question of how to run this track properly, whether it's speed or whether it's tire saving. These drivers, we'll see a lot of strategies come out from all of them, but it's going to be an exciting, close fender-to-fender racing tonight here at the Rockingham.
It certainly will be. We're keeping our eyes out on the roster list. Currently, we've got 43 drivers that have registered in to race tonight. Now, if we stay with just 43, all 43 drivers will race. But if just one driver joins in the next 2 minutes and 20 seconds, or even in the middle of qualifying, we might have a knockout position where someone will not be racing here this evening. So we're keeping our eyes out on the, again, results page of who's signed up and who's willing to race here this evening. It's going to be a long race. We're going to run 180 laps here tonight, which is going to be an additive more compared to the last time we ran here back in Season 7, where they raced 150 laps. Those extra 30 laps could be critical here this evening. We also have stage racing, or our stage will be from lap 40 of our first 45 laps of tonight's race. First top 10 drivers to finish at that stage break will get bonus points, but qualifying gonna be key. A lot of drivers have been saying it's the middle, it's the high line. Where are you finding maybe a mixture of both? Richard, it's been also drivers being notified during the drivers meeting they have to stay off the outside wall, cannot use that to assist yourself to make any passes.
Yeah, wall riding will not be tolerated by these guys, and it's for rightfully so. I mean, it's a move Ross Chastain made very famous at Martinsville, and a lot of drivers have found that you can get on the wall there and find a little bit more speed to get the run off the turns, but that will not be allowed. I'm sure there will be some kind of discretion because some drivers will bounce off the wall just because they get a little loose or tight or something, but if it looks like it's egregious and they're using it to gain time and benefit themselves, I'm sure a warning will be passed out and then potential penalties from there. So yeah, these drivers have been warned and stay off the wall and keep it on the track and as fast as they can possibly go.
We still are just at 43 drivers that have registered for tonight's race. As well as we want to say thank you to the primary sponsors of the WSSR Cup Series for Season 11. We want to say thank you to the new title sponsor for Season 11. That is VRS, otherwise known as the Virtual Racing School. They are a major help to a lot of sim racers to get themselves faster, giving great telemetry information of how drivers are racing at the track during practice, race time, enabling drivers to find their absolute best performance that they can in sim world and beyond. We also want to say thank you to GTR Simulators. Go check out all the great racing rigs that you can find at gtrsimulators.com. Remember to use the promo code WSSR when purchasing to get yourself 10% off of some of the amazing rigs to have professional level racing at home. Also, thank you to the trophy provider for this season, Trophy Smack. Also, to check out one of the newer sponsors that have hopped on board for Season 11, Sim Precision Prints. Go to Sim Precision Prints today to check out what prints they can help you get. And finally, want to say thank you to our camera provider, which is Whiplash Sim Cams, giving you all the amazing coverage and pictures that we get to see here this evening. As qualifying is starting, drivers are given 5 minutes of qualifying time to put down their fastest lap, and they've only got 2 laps to get their fastest time in. And Richard, it's about to be go time as you see one of the new faces that will be racing here this evening. It's going to be Tanner Betha, who's going to be trying their chance to put down a fast time. One of the affiliated drivers who's teaming up with Lucky Duck Motorsports, who continues to grow their affiliation. And it's always fun to see teams trying to add new drivers into leagues. We're seeing Lucky Ducks trying to get a bigger, stamp onto this league here on Wednesday night.
Yeah, Lucky Duck is really a huge component in this league with a lot of drivers under their name. And Tanner Bethea coming in, having a little trouble getting the car out on track there. But his first race coming to Rockingham is going to be a tough race for him. I mean, you could have came back for Atlanta, but that's a tough race as well because it's a super speedway, but shorter than those of Talladega and Daytona. But Rockingham's going to be a pretty tough track for them, but we're going to ride along here with Nick Crawford, one of the first cars we've seen on track fully now. Looks like he's going to be able to put his first lap down of a 24.291. Shane Terrian currently on the top of the board with the 24.1.
And Shane Terrian, fastest driver to found himself getting second fastest last time we ran here in season 7. Ultimately took the win the last time we raced here. Currently, it is a 23.998 from Terrian to set the fastest lap on his second lap. Jared Tallmadge's going to be lining up just second behind him with Brian Noel in third. Nick Crawford hoping to bounce his way forward to gain some extra time, but it's only up to 7th as Ken Campbell now will emerge into the top 3. Vincent Sora, who's found success in other leagues here from Rockingham. We'll see if the 51 has that sneaky speed, but you're seeing there, the driver's trying to get so close to that outside wall, but not wanting to touch it. But if you do graze that wall, they can invalidate your lap time. Sora's got to be careful with just this first lap as the 51 finishing lap number 1 and getting prepared for lap number 2.
Yeah, getting ready to cross the line for his second lap. It does not look he'll be able to make it to the 23-second mark, but 24.039, that will put him still within the top 10 there, not quite in the front row. The times are really close, but yeah, these drivers trying to get as close to that wall as they possibly can. As Gavin Rogers right there touches the wall, that will invalidate that lap for Gavin. Unfortunate to see one of our faster drivers here in the WSSR as well. I do believe he is working on his first lap. Hopefully he can get around and not touch the wall, be able to get around and get a time in so he doesn't start far back in the field.
And this will be starting his second lap time. Also speaking about their first lap, it's going to be Seth Noel in the 88. He will be finding himself being just 2/1000ths of a second off of Shane Terrian's lap time, and that's just from his first lap. We'll see if there's any pickup on the second as Gavin Rogers trying to find that speed. And as we talk about him, he takes the top spot. Seth Noel going to be top of the board with almost a 23.8. It's a 23.901. Rogers crosses the line as Hill come away third as he just misses out on that front row, but there's still a few other drivers trying to get their last times in. Here's going to be Joshua Corner, who's going to be trying their way to at least get a decent time in. Currently taking this first lap, a little bit more patient is the 2. We'll see what the pickup is on lap number 1 currently is on. Lap 2 needs a pickup as the 2 machine crosses the line. First lap going to be seeing themselves with around a 24.6. So that's going to be good enough for 39th position currently. As we see the 2 exiting out of turn 2, and there's the trouble spot, exit of the corner, really loose, going to be a handful to see. Other drivers out there on track, it looks like they've all finished up. It's just this 2 machine, last time to get placed in with 40 seconds left in qualifying. Corner, is it going to be better than his first cross the line? He was 39th after that first lap, and that's where he'll stay as he puts down a 24.602, so staying consistent. That might be a key thing that could help out this 2 here tonight.
Oh yeah, consistency is definitely going to be key. That helps save tires as well. So if you can be consistently fast, then you have a better chance of getting up to the front. But our top 10 is their qualifying times are all within 1/10 of a second from each other. All these guys are fast, and the qualifying was definitely a race to the final millisecond for these guys.
It certainly was. 2 shocking numbers, though. Number 3 of Ryan Kelly, 51 of Vincent Sora. Both had both laps invalidated. They will be starting 42nd and 43rd here this evening. No other drivers have registered up, so all 43 drivers will be racing here tonight. No one gets knocked out from qualifying as we now enter into our warm-up period where drivers are given 5 minutes to get any last little bit of practice in, figure out what strategies they want to make with their teammates, and as well gives us a clear picture to take a look of how this season's been going so far. Now, we've only raced one race, and we're expecting this to change a lot throughout these next couple of races, but let's take a look at our point standings entering tonight. Again, it's Joshua Kanata coming off of his incredible win last week at Atlanta. Behind him, we find Ryan Kelly, Drew Jua, Larry Yingling, and Gavin Rogers being our top 5 in points. We look outside of our top 16. Cole Sacchetti going to be in that 16th position with Christopher Wade, Brian McCann, Kyle Rochelle, and who else can maybe try to steal the show? Because I'm looking at our looking at our drivers that are showing up here tonight. Couple are not showing up that are inside of our top 15. Steven Stimpian did not see that 88 machine out there on track. We'll see if he can find it. 81, excuse me, out on track. We'll see if he comes back next week for more racing.
Yeah, Steven Stimpian usually drives the 88 machine in multiple different areas, but 81 here in the WSSR, and sad to see him not here tonight. It's been a great time to help close that gap in, sitting 15th, right on close to the cut line for the playoffs, but some great names you're typically seeing up there in the front. You know, you have Larry Yingling, Gavin Rogers, Vincent Soar, and Cedric Hunter. They're sitting in 4th through 7th. But Joshua Kanata, with that win, locks him into the playoffs as long as he can stay above, I do believe, 20th position in points. And he will be in the playoffs when that time comes with that win. So, great start to the season for Joshua Kanata. Let's see if he can keep it up the rest of the season.
Yeah, I talked to Kanata during this practice session. He said ultimate goal, just survive these races. That is, just get decent points, survive. He's got his win. That's the ultimate mindset moving forward for the rest of this regular season. And now let's take a look at how our schedule is looking at for the rest of this season. Now, we just finished up Atlanta last week, and we are finding ourselves here tonight, with Drew Jua getting the pole last week. And now this week, going to be seeing Seth Knoll. We continue a streak of having different pole sitters so far this season. And after we're done here at Rockingham, we head to Dover. Then we go to Texas, Portland, and then we have a week off for these drivers. Well, they'll be enjoying the Week 13 iRacing's big update that they have. That will be off before we come back for Darlington. But these first 5 races, big swings on different variations of courses that we're going to be testing out. I think this is going to be our true test after these first 5 races, Richard, of where is the field truly placed.
Yeah, it's really different start to this season. They're kind of all over the place with the style of racing and the style of tracks. But I think the most exciting track that's probably coming up will be Portland on June 4th. A new track to the service. It's a road course that Xfinity typically races on. And these guys are going to take the next-gen cars there and try to whip it around and see what they can do that road course. But Portland's going to be a really fun one to watch on June 4th when it comes around. But still got a few more tracks before that. Dover and Texas, 2 tracks that are also pretty terrifying to race for the drivers as well.
They certainly are. We also, this isn't the full schedule. We also have the final round of the championship round of other drivers. We'll see that later on in the season. But we've got 1 minute and 25 seconds left in warm-ups. And this is our usual time that we have our pick'ems. Who are drivers we feel like are storyline picks, those that could be favorites to win. And honestly, for myself, I went with who I think is going to win here tonight. And I'm going to be going with that 88 machine who took the pole. We made these picks during practice. Seth Knoll, he is fast every track we go to. I got a feeling he wants to win early in the season for himself. Richard, who do you have as a driver to watch out for here tonight?
I'm going to go with the number 51 of Vincent Sora. He is fast no matter where we go, and one of the most winningest drivers of the league. I think he can get it done and knock out the competition here at the Rock tonight.
He's got a long journey as he'll be starting in the back of the pack. And then our third member of our crew, you've been seeing some of the new designs on our broadcast graphics already. Robert Moyer Jr. going to be with us running buttons in the background. He's going with last season's champion, John Forbes Jr. We know here at The Rock and other leagues, he's willing to be aggressive. Will that aggression be rewarded here tonight with the win? We'll find out. Those are our pick'ems of drivers to watch out for here this evening. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch out on who could be those that could really shock us here this evening. Again, 180 laps here tonight. Stage break at the end of lap 45. No fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires. Fuel not expected to be really an issue here tonight because the drivers are assuming it could be a wreck fest all throughout this evening. We do have 2 drivers entering into this week with penalties carrying over after the end of Atlanta. Those 2 drivers being Ben Keeney, who was going to be given an L1 penalty for ARCA braking. He will be given an end of the line penalty, so he will start 43rd here tonight. 1 driver, though, already suspended. Christopher Norris, if you were watching the broadcast last week, we kind of assumed there was some shenanigans with his late wreck with Brad Delph. The admins deemed it intentional wrecking and reckless driving and retaliation. He is suspended for 1 race. We'll see Christopher Norris next week at Dover. As drivers and fans ready for action, hands up and ready to go, let's take a look at our starting grid here tonight for Rockingham, the 2nd race of the season. Taking the top spot for the pole here for season 11 at the Rock, it's Sentinel in the 88. To his outside row in row number 1, it's the 9 of Shane Terrian, with Gavin Rogers starting in 3rd. Colby DiCarlo going to be in 4th, with Thomas Green 5th. 6th, we find the 7 of Douglas Newbegin, with Jared Talmadge in 7th. 8th, we find the 15 of Ken Campbell, with Zach Hall in 9th. Then we're going to have another newcomer having his debut. It's Bladen Edwards going to be starting in finishing off our top 10.
Starting in 11th position is going to be John Forbes Jr., our last year's champion and pick from Robert Moyer Jr. And outside of him is going to be Brian Noel in the 00. Ross Tatum starting back in 13th in the 21, and Larry Yingling just to his outside of the number 67 starting 14th. Brian McCann will be starting in the 15th position, the number 8 in his split scheme that we see every week, with Chris Stitz in the 17, just outside of him in the 16th position. Nick Crawford will be starting in 17th position, and Joshua Kanata, last week's winner, will be starting in 18th, just outside of Nick Crawford in the number 16 machine. Starting 19th will be Cedric Hunter in the Hello Kitty machine, and Pete Tart rocking his correct number in the number 40 Dubby machine, starting in the 20th position.
In 21st, we've got a driver who's won here in the past, back the first time they ran in season 3, and that was when they was running the Gen 6 car. We got Brian P. Johnson starting in 21st position. Ryan Bird will start in 22nd for that 49. And 23rd, we find Tanner in that 78 machine, and he will have an ally from Lucky Ducks in 24th and 77 of Drew Jua. Justin Malarkey will start in 25th position, with Nico Garcia in 26th. 27th is Ali Fonseca in the 24. Munatsi Major going to be in 28th in the 82, with Colin Carroll in the 4, starting 29th. Cole Sacchetti will be finishing out our top 30.
In 31st position, we're going to have Christopher Wade in the number 53, with GT Irizarry on his outside in the number 14 position. Cody Reed starting back in the 33rd place, and Brad Delph to the outside of him in 34th, just outside of, or in 35th position, we're going to have David Medina Sr. and Ryan Ferrero starting outside of him in 36th. 37th will be Samuel S. Garcia and Andrew Medlin on the outside of him in the 38th position. 39th will be Joshua Corner, and Martin G. Morales will round out our 40 drivers. And then the last 3, Ben Keeney starting 41st, Vince Asor 42nd, and Ryan Kelly in the 43rd position.
A lot of names, 43 drivers off full field in race number 2. Here's your pre-race info. We're here at Rockingham. It's a mile-length course, but they say it's more like a short track with the style racing we're going to see. 4 corners. It's middle of the day in the noontime. Air temperature 79 degrees. Track temp, though, a very warm 115 Fahrenheit on track. Pace cars in pit road. Race number 2 is underway here tonight as Shane Terrian, already gonna be trouble. Drivers are stacking up. They're wrecking already before they even get to turn 1. The big one, restart, wheel spin, madness, and caution. And as they're all trying to sneak their way through, well, it ain't expected to be before we got to start finish line for the first wreck, but Richard, there it is.
That was a parking lot on the start-finish line to open up the second race of the season, and it just looked like it was wheel spin and just could not get that car under control, causing him to hit other drivers and just involve a ton of drivers in this one to open this race up.
Started up front, looked to be trying to get the exact number of the driver, and I believe that was the 22. That's going to be Colby DiCarlo, who just, I think he restarted in the wrong gear, downshifted, hoped that was going to help, and it just didn't. Everyone accordioned into the madness and hard contacts all around. Luckily, it was on a restart, so some of these big blows aren't too bad, but you're seeing some drivers just ricocheting into one another, and it just felt like a never-ending wreck as drivers frustratedly trying to get back around as quickly as possible. No required damage, but expecting drivers to have to go into pit road to get service done. And curious on the fact of if we can maybe do a ride along with the 22 and see what was going on inside of that cockpit as he was trying to take off and go. Because Richard, it just looked like he was in the wrong gear for himself.
It does kind of look like he's just starting in the wrong gear from this view. It looks like he's starting in the second gear, which is typically the right gear to start at, I believe. Maybe first. No, he's here first right here, but yeah, it just did not look the car like he got up and went when the green flag flew, got a push from behind, and it just kind of ensued the looseness from everybody spinning out and causing a lot of cars to get involved in that. But it's going to be a smart decision for a lot of these guys involved in this wreck. Go ahead, get down, get the damage all repaired, because you're going to have a long race. It looked like he just missed the shift.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And just was chasing it the whole time, and everyone's piling in. You could just see how helpless of a feeling it was as other drivers piling in. And once you get straight, you just try to drive away, and then wheel spins it again. And just a frustrating start. Luckily, though, it's early in tonight's race. We got 180 laps here this evening. We're just on lap 3. And, you know, with the fact that this wreck happened so early, it is going to complicate things for drivers in the back. But with how large this field is here tonight, the Rock being just a mile, Richard, if you're collecting damage here early on, you don't have a lot of time to get that damage fixed and make sure you get all of the damage fixed before the pace car catches you and potentially could put you a lap down.
Yeah, there's not a lot of time to be on pit road and waiting for that damage to fix because this track is so short. But the good thing is, I mean, there is a lot of speed here, but aero isn't totally necessary. They're not reaching severe speed, so a little bit of damage isn't detrimental per se. So we'll see what a lot of these guys can do. As we see, I do believe that is the number 21 car's got a little bit of nose damage as well. Did not decide just to keep track position. Is not going to go down and get his damage fixed. We'll see how that affects him in the longer run.
Well, we didn't get to turn 1 on the initial start. We'll see if this first restart enables us to get that far along. It's still going to be your top 2 up front. Seth Knoll, Shane Tarrant going to be the lead drivers. Knoll's going to take the inside row. Behind them going to be Gavin Rogers, Thomas Green, pace car to pit road into the restart zone. And we are green for Richmond here tonight for race number 2. A much cleaner start throughout the field as Tarrant already with a massive launch for the 9. He will take the early lead. And a driver that knows track position, having that clean air so important as the rest of the field already going to be side by side a few rows deep. And you got to be careful of if drivers decide to go 3 wide.
Yeah, they've definitely got to try not to go 3 wide here, but these guys are aggressive in this league, and they definitely will take it 3 wide at points. But this track is not as wide as it seems, and it's very short, a lot of speed. But the biggest thing is the stability of the cars. It is a very bouncy track, and they get loose. We saw the number 40 there. Pete Tarr, he's going to come back into the field. No,
he locks it down.
Great control from Pete, locks it down, keeps it out of the field, and keeps on rolling.
That's exactly what you want to see from these drivers. Get your car to a safe place, then lock it down. It might ruin your track position. It will keep your car in safe conditions, and it will save other drivers as we continue to race on. That exit turn 2 is just going to get tougher and tougher as these green flag laps tick away. And these drivers were curious, how long of a green flag run could we have here this evening? As you're seeing a few drivers, it's going to be Cole Sacchetti in the 29. His Storm Motorsports teammate ahead of him going to be Chris Stetson, 17. Trying to pick and choose where do you want to go as these are battles just inside of the top 20. Further along ahead, the battling for 3rd place, you've got the 75 of Gavin Rogers, Thomas Green, and Ken Campbell. Campbell with a great start for the 15. He's going to try to keep this track position here tonight.
Yeah, great run from Ken Campbell right now, sitting there pretty in the 5th position, top 5 running for him right now. And just trying to take it easy. I know it doesn't look like he's trying to be overly aggressive and move forward as we're right along now with Larry Yingling, who is back there in the 10th position. Last car in the top 10. But these drivers, one of the biggest things they can do to help with their turn 2 exit is if they can diamond the turn, they can drive a little bit straighter off out of turn 2, which helps keep that car from breaking loose. With the difference in banking, going from the banking to the straightaway flat is such a huge change that it upsets that car. So the straighter you can drive off that turn, the safer that car is going to be.
I know for Cedric Hunter, this is going to be a fun race. Oh no, trouble behind. It's going to be Sacchetti as well as others. The calamity. The field just piles in down into turn number 3. And another big one strikes here tonight.
Another big wreck strikes here on lap 11, and that is one, downside about this track is, yeah, it's fast, but it's short also. So when things like this happens, it's harder to get these cars slowed down and slowed down faster. But a lot of cars just kind of drove into that wreck, it seemed, and just massive damage for a lot of cars.
And the thing that we noticed on watching last week's race at Atlanta, when you get drivers sideways, the smoke plume, the new updates that iRacing's put in for the smoke, I mean, Richard, it is so much harder to see now when there's a lot of smoke on track. And I think for most of the field there, they were just banking and hoping the track was clear. But sadly, it wasn't. It was completely blocked by two drivers being sideways. As you see there, looseness with Sacchetti, tags GT Rizzari, and then just madness with everyone piling in late.
Yeah, it's just madness indeed. 14 Irizarry just getting involved there. Unfortunate for a lot of those drivers. Some major damage there for GT on the front. Hopefully he can get that fixed, but just the 29 to 14 coming together in the middle of the straightaway does not bode well for everybody.
Absolutely not. Brad Bell, one of the first drivers to enter into that mixture, as they were just trying to stay side by side racing as long as they could, but simple tag and go was what happened to the field. Both drivers going to be entering pit road from 32nd position on back. All going to get repairs done as you're seeing another different look of the carnage of drivers piling in. And looking at the field, still Shane Tarrant going to be staying up front. And that was a curious thing when I was talking to drivers, was the thought of taking tires. When do you want to take them? When do you want to pit? Because fuel window that we were given was around 100 laps you can go on fuel. So you know you're going to have to pit at least one time here tonight. But if the one time you pit is at the stage, then everyone kind of knows when you're going to come in and take tires. And if we get a lot of cautions, you can kind of stretch that fuel out. But Richard, if you're some of these drivers further on back, if we get a caution right before the stage, taking that gamble of pitting early could really reward you with track position later on.
It definitely can. I mean, getting your fuel early means you don't have to worry about a pit later, but I don't think that's the smart decision. I think what's going to be best for a lot of these guys is try to extend that long run that you don't have to pit, because the tires are going to be the big thing here at Rockingham. Like a majority of short tracks is how long can you make those tires last? If you can make the tires last a lot longer than others, then maybe pitting early is a better option for you. But the people that can pit as late as possible, during the stage and not have to worry about pit after that, they're the ones that's going to benefit the most.
You can see on our top of our ticker board, you can see that we're coming to the end of the stage here. We're almost halfway to it. Stage break is at the end of lap 45. Top 10 drivers are rewarded with stage bonus points. We'll see who can stay inside of the top 10 before that stage is over. Pace cars off into the restart zone, and we're green once again. Tarian with a massive launch, and we're already seeing a little bit of hold on tight. Gavin Rogers wasn't able to get through the gears as cleanly as he was hoping, as Ken Campbell, a slight touch and a bump to help out that 75. But it's all Tarian side by side. Further on back, though.
Great side-by-side racing up here in the front and throughout the field. Let's see if they can keep it clean for longer than 10 laps. But they're able to get through one lap. No more mishap on a restart here. And the guys, it kind of looks like they're starting to take a little bit calm. Not a lot of movement up here in the front at the moment. Just a lot of side-by-side racing. A lot of drivers trying to figure out what line they want to take to try and make these moves. The outside line's definitely going to give you a lot more momentum, as we saw right there as Ale Fonseca got right up on the bumper.
Here's where the true chaos is starting to mount up. Drivers that did not qualify well trying to march their way forward. There's the 3 machine of Ryan Kelly, also going to be the 51 of Vincent Sora. They started in last place because their laps got invalidated during qualifying, as they're trying to march their way through this field. 2 drivers we expect to be inside of the top 10 is Kelly. Very loose and wiggly off the exit of the corner, touches the outside wall for a quick moment. Well, the 00 does back off, but this field, they know they need to get moving forward. In the 51 and the 3, they're going forward together, just not in the traditional way of following one another. They're staying side by side and forcing it 3 wide. It seems like that seems to be their move to get forward as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it kind of looks like they just took Cody Reed there on the inside and the outside, forcing him to the middle, and it kind of forced him to back off, being that middle driver, not where you want to be. But Vincent Sora looks like he's going to get a little bit of ground there on the number 3, Ryan Kelly, now, as he's taking the inside. He is making moves, moving his way up through the field, and it seems like the inside lane is the lane you want to make the passes and the moves that Vincent Sora is giving us a class act for that.
Yeah, it seems like listening to the drivers, they said the outside or felt like it was the preferred place to have the most speed. But if everyone's running that same lane, there's going to be some big checkups. The drivers have to slow down earlier than maybe they would prefer to. That's what's enabling this 51 to take these big passes, go to the inside as Vincent Sora now going to be attempting to get by the 4 of Colin Carroll, who gets into the outside wall for the 4 machine. Big tap, trying to hold on to position as well as he can. And there's that kind of quote-unquote advantage you can find of tapping the wall. It might look like it's hurting you, but actually can straighten you up for the exit of the corner.
Yeah, definitely can straighten you up, keep the car stable again, but he's not doing it like we were talking about earlier, not doing it really to intentionally gain an advantage. It was more of just driving the car a little hard there and having to touch the wall. So as we'll watch now, yeah, he's going to stay off the wall this time. Definitely just an incidental move there. But Vincent Sora is going to be able to get around him, but the number 4 gets a little loose. But
we got to go to the lead. I know the 4 is out of control, but we got to go to the lead because it is getting chaotic with Seth Knoll going to be trying to make his way forward. He does make the pass for the lead. But for a quick second, they were 3 wide, having Knoll, Terry, and Rogers all trying to make the big moves. 88 on the inside group makes that pass work. Terry now trying to get the ramping off the exit corner pass, but Gavin Rogers better run for the 75. He'll go to the inside, trying to get that 9 out of position, and Terrian, you would have preferred that lead being up in the lead, having that clean air, and that's exactly where you don't want this 88 to be positioned currently.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be in that position, but the 88 of Seth Knoll doing a great job maintaining the lead. Shane Terrian, again, the only driver in our field that uses a controller instead of a wheel and pedal set, is really showing that you don't need no expensive sim rig. You don't need pedals or steering wheel. Grab a PlayStation or Xbox controller and you can race here in iRacing, and he's doing a fantastic job challenging these guys up here in the 2nd and 3rd positions.
I've talked to Shane and I've asked him, what controller are you using? Are you using the expensive brands that have the special pedals and all the gizmos that you can ask for? And he said, no, I'm using one of the cheaper options of controllers. So you really don't even need an expensive controller either to be racing well as the 9 machine trying to hold for 2nd position. Gavin Rogers still poking the nose to the inside, and that battle for the lead kind of fading away as this battle for 2nd is holding back any speed. Rogers or Thomas Green might be feeling like they've got underneath their engines, and they're just going to stall out for now and continue to hold your breath. But gotta say, at this moment, I mean, Richard, this is incredible to see. We've been green way longer than I was expecting us to be, and drivers that have gotten loose and out of control out of the exit turn 2 have done a fantastic job to lock down their vehicles and not collect anyone else in their misfortunes.
Yeah, the driver's doing a great job of keeping their cars straight and clean and out of trouble when they're getting loose out of 2. We don't see the problem out of 4. It's mainly 2. That is the problem turn. But these drivers are doing a great job keeping the racing going, keeping this race under the green flag. And we have just gone over, you know, the most green flag run we've had now with over 10 laps completed. So these guys are doing a really good job. Gavin Rogers is still trying to look and get around Shane Terrian. Keeps looking low, but he keeps getting a little loose and not able to get that move. But we're still back here right along with Zachary Hall. It looks like number 40 getting loose again. Zach Hall's got a lot of damage on his nose, but just a hornet's nest back here in the 30th positions.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers that are going to be 20th on back have some type of damage with being involved with the first caution before we even got to turn 1, and then the second caution of seeing the backstretch kind of turn into a parking lot with drivers running into one another. So a lot of damage accrued throughout the field as we're seeing John Forbes, Cody Reed going back and forth. This is the battle for 23rd position. And John Forbes involved with some of those incidences early on in that first caution that we had. So he had to go into pit road, got a little bit of damage repair. It's hurt him on track position as he's trying to gain some of those spots back. One of the drivers, though, that's trying to make his charge forward, 24 machine of Ollie Fonseca. I know we were just looking on him, but Ollie coming off of a 1-race suspension and too many incident point tallies at the end of last season that put him in a tough spot entering into season 11. He had to miss last week's race. Currently trying to make his way forward is the 24 and running currently 15th. Not a bad place to be if you're starting your restart of a season a race late.
Yeah, it's never fun missing out on the first race of the season, and I got a feel for Ollie there missing out on Atlanta. A very good chance to get some really good points, but he's here, he's at Rockingham, he's ready to, make up what the lost ground that he has from missing in Atlanta. But maybe it might change the way he races a little bit. Maybe stay out of some situations that he put himself in last season, so he doesn't have to deal with that later as well.
Brandon on board with Season 1 champ of the WSSR and also winner of Rockingham back in Season 3, Brian P. Johnson. Driver who dominated that race back in Season 3, led 135 of 167 laps that day. Here tonight, runs 10th. We'd love to see the speed from the 28 returning. A driver that always seems to be at the top end of speed. Hasn't found the luck to win championships of recent, but it has been a lot of fun to see Brian when he is showing up full-time, part-time, on how much speed he truly will have as he's following one of his longtime rivals of Larry Yingling in front of him. That's 67. Also, been looking pretty quick. Both of them just staying in line. This is 9th and 10th currently on the track, trying to find their way forward.
Yeah, these two have always raced each other really well. Larry Yingling and Brian P. Johnson racing here, trying to get that one extra point when we get closer to the end of stage here. But this is for 9th and 10th, and Brian P. Johnson's going to look low on Larry Yingling here, going to challenge for that 9th position. He might be able to pull it off. They're going to be side by side as they come at it too.
Gonna still be side by side. Yingling defends with that faster momentum off the exit of the corner, helps him defend for that spot. As now going to be seeing that 3 and 51. They continue their charge forward. Now Ali Fonseca going to be the next driver on their sights. Up to 12th place now is this battling between the 24 and the 51 machine, as Ollie's trying to defend on the outside groove and trying every way to pinch the 51, slow him down off the exit while keeping your own momentum, and it's working for now for Ollie. But how long will Vincent Zoric just stay in this position? It's just one of those spots where you have to stay patient as long as you can.
Yeah, patience is definitely key. And when making these passes, you're trying to keep that car safe. You're not trying to get yourself involved in any kind of situation that's going to ruin the rest of your race. And that's exactly what Vincent Soar is doing. He's taking his time, waiting for the right moment to get around, but he is up 29 positions from where he started. Him and Ryan Kelly both up 29 positions. So these guys are making their charge through the field. They want those stage points. As we go, and it looks like the 78 is spinning on the press stretch.
Tanner's trying to lock it down, and he's going to have the nose right on the racing surface, but drops it back to the apron. This is going to be a tough spot. He's got to get rolling, but once he gets on that racing surface, most likely a yellow flag will be thrown with oncoming traffic. He finally starts moving as more drivers pass on by, and there's that caution we were waiting for. As it's 10 laps, we're about 10 laps away from the stage ending, and a quick yellow. And this was that zone I was talking about, Richard, of you can pit now. It could help you for track position later on, but it could give you away any stage points maybe you're going after.
Yeah, this is where the big decision is going to come in. I mean, it's only going to be a good 5 to 10 lap difference near the end of the race. So you can sacrifice your position now. You might not get your stage points, but it might put you in a better race position for the start of the last bit of this race. And then you don't have to pit. So, but we got the 78 here. Gets up into Larry Yingling in turn 3, and then he's just trying to chase the car, gets it back under control. Ollie Fonseca through the middle, and he just loses it on himself, trying to give Ollie some room. So, opening race, he spins out of 4, but great work keeping it out of traffic and out of the other cars, and just a self-spin on himself.
And that's the building's going to take it away, but then season opening tries to take off, and Ben Keeney with the biggest scare, which makes that even more awkward, is those are Alliance drivers as well. Ben Keeney, one of the newest members to join this season with Lucky Ducks, trying to go underneath their umbrella, and luckily neither driver making contact, but a scary woeing spot to have for yourself as drivers attempting to go into pit road, and it's going to be our leader at the time of caution. It's going to be Seth Knoll taking that advantage of pitting, doesn't go for the stage bonus points. He's thinking long-term in this race, and he'll go into pit road to get service done. Only problem, this next restart, he'll be back in 19th position for the 88 machine up front with a lot of those passes that were going on late when that caution flag came out. Ross Tatum was able to blitz his way by Terrian, Rogers, and also Thomas Green. The 21 can be our control vehicle on this restart.
Yeah, these guys were definitely making a charge to try to get back up front, and now they're in prime position to potentially take the win in this stage and get them some very valuable stage points. Same for Gavin Rogers. It does look like his tires have fallen off quite a bit. He's lost a few positions there, but he likes to stay out as well. He's going to try to get those stage points, but these drivers still got a few laps, about 5 to 6 laps to go until that stage caution wave. So still have a great chance to get some good points, even for those guys that pitted in.
Yeah, this next restart is going to be our last restart of the stage. We're going to caution before the end of lap 45. That will count as the stage ending. And if we get to the end of lap 45, still green, a caution will be thrown and that will end the stage. Top 10 driver is going to get bonus points. If you finish first, you get 10 bonus points at the time of our stage ending. 9 points to second, 8 to third. It continues to dwindle down until you get to 10th place, where you only get one measly bonus point, but that 1 point could be the reason of you being into the playoffs or missing out. So every point is so crucial to go after. As Ross Tatum sneakily was making his way forward. He started 13th, up 12 spots. This 21, he found late speed. The long run might be where Ross Tatum feels the strongest as he takes off immediately. Green flag is back into the air here tonight for the Rock Race 2. Top 2 going to be in line for now as Taryn in the 9. He looks to be a little bit in trouble. He's floundering with those older tires, but up front, Thomas Green almost to the quarter panel for that lead position.
Yeah, Thomas Green almost challenging for that lead position, but Ross Tatum still able to maintain it, but he's going to look low again as they go into 3. Side by side as they come out of 4. Who's going to have this lap? It will be Ross Tatum leading this lap and still maintaining the lead, but I'm sure Thomas Green will not give up that easy. He's going to try to get a run and make another move as we got Gavin Rogers sitting in 3rd with 2 wide behind him, trying to chase him down as well.
And that's going to be Thomas Green's teammate in the 27 of Jared Tolmage. Nightmare Fuel starting to see emergences from 2 of their 4 drivers as the one machine of John Forbes, of 51 of Vincent Sora are trying their ways to move up through this field as quickly as they can. But it's the newcomers to Nightmare Fuel of Tolmage and Green that have really looked solid so far here tonight. But that inside looking tough as Terrian throws that 9 machine into the outside wall. Didn't want to overcorrect to the inside and take out Tolmage. And they will stay pointed forward for now as everyone single files out in the top 7. It's hope that you find the good speed as the 25 trying his best. It's Cody Reed to hold back Nico Garcia in the 71. Oh no, trouble. Oh, Douglas, watch out. That 7 machine trying his best not to just throw away those positions.
Yeah, Douglas Newbigging, number 7 there in the blue Tiltify car for Lucky Ducks. Very fast driver, but he always seems to find himself in kind of self-sabotaging situations there. Looks like he got into the quarter panel a little bit of the car in front of him, and he was just spun out down the front stretch, but able to keep it straight, didn't lose a ton of positions, and he's going to make his surge back and try to get those spots back.
And just a lap prior off the exit of turn 2, Shane Tarrant, big slide. He falls down to 8th place, and this is now giving new breath and fresh air for those that are battling for 10th place, as drivers trying their best to be inside of the top 10 when this stage is over. Coming across the line, the start of the final lap of the stage. Ross Tatum, what a charge for this 21 machine. You can see the front end slightly dented in after that first lap caution, but it doesn't throw away his run. It's Thomas Green. Big slide off the exit of turn 2, but Tatum in that Coca-Cola 21 machine, exit of turn number 4, stage winner. This is a great showing by the 21 team as exit out of turn number 4 for 10th place. Shane Terrian will take that final spot.
A great job by Ross Tatum.
Oh, trouble though, as that yellow flag came out, Cedric Hunter got spun around into turn number 1.
Oh man, Rex after the caution, but I was just saying about Ross Tatum, it just goes to show that damage isn't that big of a deal as he takes the stage win, benefiting from the leaders pitting. But let's see what happened here after the yellow was thrown as Cedric Hunter is spun around sideways on that outside wall.
You came across the line 5th as they were battling side by side down into the corner and just went straight up into Ken Campbell. It just looked like he lost any type of grip in those tires and just shipped his way into the 15.
Yeah, it looks like he did. Just pulled tight there and drifted up. I don't know what exactly was going on with the car, especially with the caution flag out. It was definitely a very strange situation in 1 and 2 here, but they're side by side. He does come across the line in front of Ken Campbell, so he'll have the position there. And it just the car,
yeah.
He looks like he locks his tire up and the car just shoots out to the outside.
And these guys are still racing hard. Main reason why is they're trying to keep track position. Now, the bonus points that are given is when they cross the line and what positions they're in. The yellow flag will not be thrown until 10th place crosses the line. And for Cedric Hunter, yellow flag is thrown, and that is a dismal way to finish out the stage, even with that great track position. I don't know if he's getting those spots back. And then for Ken Campbell, he accrues extra damage that wasn't necessary. That is a tough spot as drivers going to get service done into pit road to get their pit stops finished up. And with all the passes that were going on, those that pitted 10 laps ago under our second to last caution before the stage ended, Vincent Sora going to be in that control spot for himself. Now we're waiting for drivers to leave their positions of pit road to see if we can maybe talk to our stage winner. But I'm looking at Discord, looks like he is not in any of the channels, so we will not be able to talk to our stage winner as the pace car lights are still on. We're going to have a quick turnaround for ourselves here as Vincent Sora is looking good, but Richard, this is one of those times I think we'll wait for our next caution to pull in a driver and talk to them. But Sora going to be in that control spot, 10 lap difference on tires as Ross Tatum and the rest of the field, they're going to be 12th on back on this next restart.
Yeah, those guys who took tires on that first caution, or that the second caution with 10 laps left of the stage, they're up front now. They're playing the early pit strategy to give themselves track position. But that's the downside about trying to get a driver for interview on a track like this. It's so short. The caution laps do not tick by very slow. So we don't have a lot of time to pull someone and find someone to talk to them. But hopefully next caution, if we have one, we'll talk to someone new or someone within the field. But looks like Vincent Sora will be leading this field to the green flag to start the final stage of this race.
We get ourselves rolling here. The stage is over. It's now time to race it to the end. We got 131 laps to go here tonight at Rockingham. The first 45 laps showed some big wrecks, but we also saw some green flag racing. That's some good sign for the field knowing, hey, we can race this thing out. It could be based off of you want some good track position at the start, but you can rip your way through this field if you keep yourself clean. And oh no, not clean was that start as Vincent Sora into Seth Knoll. Oh, the front row, throw it all the way, and now it's John Forbes pulling away from the rest of the field with Ryan Kelly in second.
Ryan Kelly in second, and just unfortunate start to another restart, but we not under caution this time. They all kept it straight. But a lot of drivers are losing momentum in spots that they could have easily had if it would have been a clean restart.
We're hoping for all the advantage to help out for themselves as Ross Tatum now going to be slotted up to 9th place. Some easy positions of trouble further on back as drivers are looking really slow. That's going to be Pete Tart in the 40 machine. Big real issues for himself as drivers continue to race on up front. Now Nick Crawford, who's had one of the faster laps put down here tonight, 74, taking that advantage of early pit stops, trying to charge up front as now we're going to be 3 wide. Seth Knoll, as we'll see Thomas Green, our winner from last week, Joshua Kanata, trying to find their way to sneak forward, but Kanata stays stuck in the middle as they get to turn number 2.
Joshua Kanata doing a great job sticking that car in the middle lane and still able to clear it out. But they're all going to file in single file behind him. They might try to run that outside and get that momentum. Joshua Kanata fighting to try to get up here in the top 10. And like you said, he's trying, also try to keep this car clean, try to have a clean race for himself, because more points will come if you keep that car clean and on track. And that's exactly what he's trying to do right now. With Shane Terrian is starting to knock on his door as well.
Terrian, we saw he looks good when he's in clean air in those first couple of laps, and he's going to try and take advantage with the fresher tires that he's grabbed with the most recent pit stop down to the inside on the 16. They'll stay side by side. There's a lot of drivers in the middle of the field. This is that danger point where everyone's so clogged up on top of one another. There's not a lot of safe places to go. There's Minazzi Major and the 82 trying to get that major setup machine working on the top, as well as Douglas Newbegin, who we saw had a big slide coming there late at the end of the stage. The 7 trying to get redemption to get back inside of the top 10 as quickly as possible.
Yeah, he's definitely working his way up through the field, and it'd be nice to see him get a lot of really good finishes this season as well. Maybe have another chance at a championship run for him. He's one of our faster cars also, just he always seems to get involved in either an accident or something he causes on himself, but he's definitely a really fast driver, and it's great to see him up here trying to challenge for the top 10 as we ride back now with Ollie Fonseca, with the 21 of Ross Tatum, our stage winner, right behind him, and Brian McCann following with suit.
And Ryan McCann, 8 machine, after getting passed by Ross, figured out, you know what, moving to the top might be the better place to be with my older tires. As Thomas, going to be Talmadge, big slide for himself. Also going to be seeing Noah's going to be seeing Noel with a big slide for the double zero further on back. The drivers who got fresh rubber, they are making some quick work moving forward as Ross Tatum now up to 6th position and Thomas Green following him as well up to 7th.
Yeah, the guys that had to come in for pit for the stage, I mean, there wasn't a lot of drivers in front of them to deal with, so, but right now they're kind of running those tires really hard. I'm not sure if they're just naturally fashioning the guys that they're passing or if they're just running those tires as hard as they can. So it'll be exciting to see if nobody pits again the rest of this race, whose tires are going to last the longest. Because the looser your car is, it's going to be harder to control that car, especially out of turn 2, like we talked about, the trouble spot of this track. That car is going to want to snap loose and spin as quick as it possibly can. It's going to be hard to save when that happens as well.
Andrew Medlin, who had a very good run last week at Atlanta, trying to stay on the outside and get by Zach Hall. Not able to do so. He'll lose a position. There's a 78 machine of Tanner, who's also moved up to 22nd spot after his slide that brought out a caution. He's now in a great position to move into 22nd place, about to be attacking for 21st as Medlin goes into the outside wall, trying to stay high. More contact with Nico Garcia, getting it to 12, and that is some major troubles and almost down to his teammate was Medlin, and I think he's got something broke on the 12. Something on the wheel isn't right because he is struggling to look like he was trying to get down to pit road. He'll try to stay low, get out of the way of the rest of the field, but Medlin reassessing how bad the damage is with multiple contacts to the outside wall. That is not what you want to do with these next-gen vehicles.
No, and especially, and we got to spin. Cody Reed spin on the backstretch.
Cody Reed, Chris Stitz, both having trouble going slow off the exit of the corner. And it looks like more drivers might have been piling in there late as trouble just strikes off the exit of turn number 2.
Like we were talking about there for the number 12 with Andrew Medlin, though, we were talking about the multiple taps to the outside wall that he had. It is a buildup of damage over time. So the more times you hit that wall, you're eventually going to break something. But now we're going to ride around, see what happens with Cody Reed as he's riding around the 82 of the Nazi Major there. He's going to try, looks to the middle lane. He's going to try to take it 3 wide, and he will be in the middle lane still. They were 3 wide through 1 and 2. They just kind of closed in, gets a little close to the 17. 17 comes up and gets into his left rear quarter panel and nose first into that inside wall.
Then you're going to see another contact here, and that's the 91 of Mark Morales and Ken Campbell. Campbell just blasting the 91's rear end. It looked like he was not expecting Morales to just jab on the brakes. But taking another look at it and just trying to run down low as Chris Stitz. They know they're 3 wide. It just naturally wants to pull you up, though, off the exit of the corner. And another quick caution coming out as drivers were going 3 wide. It's not the safest place to be when you're in attack mode. And just simply graze touched. And, multiple different moments there for drivers. And again, another incident happening behind them. That was the 91 of Mark Morales, with also the 15 of Ken Campbell, as they were trying to get through that wreck. As Morales currently is 36th position for himself and was trying his best to get through the wreck, but then just absolutely ran over. As here's another look of what happened to the 91 machine as he came up to the incident off that exit of turn 2.
Yeah, Mark Morales just trying to do the right thing, just slowed down as there's a wreck in front of him, and he just gets ARCA braked almost is what it looked like. Ken Campbell just didn't slow down like Martin was, and just right into the rear end of the 91 machine. Heavy damage to both of their cars as well.
I'm curious if maybe you're going to see in the mirror if Justin Malarkey maybe was on his rear bumper and he couldn't back off, and we'll see what it looks like off the exit of the corner. If maybe there was a separate factor that happened. Maybe he was looking at a different thing. There's no one behind him, and he just drives right into him. Yeah, that's a tough spot for Ken Campbell and others. As we find ourselves with another caution being thrown, drivers are stacking up, and I'm curious. We haven't done this in a while. I'm throwing Robert right under the bus. I'm curious if we can maybe do a crank it up. I know the driver's going to take off here, but we'll see once we go green if we can get a crank it up for these drivers coming to the next lap if possible, as we've got John Force, Ryan Kelly going to be the drivers getting us to the green. I'll wait until you give me the cue as John Force, Ryan Kelly ship it down into turn number 1, exit at turn number 2, crank it up. Let's see how loud these drivers can be here at the Rock. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed that little bit of a cranker up that we got to show of the Rock with the WSSR VRS Cup Series. After this restart, it's Ryan Kelly still leading the charge, but he's under fire as John Forbes trying to find a way to get by the 3 machine. Was for a quick moment, but falls back in line as you're seeing last week's winner, Joshua Kanata, under fire for himself as he's running currently in 17th position with Drew Jua, Larry Yingling, Manazzi Major, and Cedric Hunter, all trying to pounce to get by this Cotton Candy 16 machine as well as he can. I want to say thank you to all those that are joining with us here tonight. I also want to say thank you to all the sponsors. That's VRS, Virtual Racing School, GTR Simulators, Trophy Smack, Sim Precision Prints, and Whiplash Sim Cams for being major sponsors for the WSSR and for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're closing in ever so closer to the halfway zone. We're still in the first half of tonight's race, but you're seeing drivers wiggling up the exit of the corner. It's been out of control everywhere. And Richard, I mean, it has been topsy-turvy all around. A lot of big wrecks happening early. But man, how have you felt like this race has been going so far?
I mean, this race is going a lot better than I honestly expected. It started off kind of with expectation. I wasn't expecting a wreck as they crossed the start line, but 10 laps was about a good run. I mean, I'm seeing a lot worse, but these guys have really taken this track and kind of have been dominating it. They've been doing a great job keeping these cars straight and under control, and that just goes to show you the skill level of this field. But we're going to talk about the number 3 machine of Ryan Kelly. Started the very last place of the field, is leading this race at Rockingham.
Took advantage of having the track position on pit stops. The 3 machine deciding to pit with 10 laps to go at the end of the stage. So with the timing of the stage coming out, was able to stay out, jump some of those positions. The only trouble is you have the track position now for the 3 machine. An incredible story of how well he's climbed his way forward. But I'm curious on the fact how can the three keep this positions if this race stays green, and the potential of green flag pit stops. Want to give a shout out also to the three machine for being our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the race in the first half of tonight's running. Like Richard said, he started in last, 43rd position. He is now up 42 spots. Congratulations to the three machine. You're seeing a little bit of smoke as drivers further on back have been having some slides here or there. We continue to stay green, but like it's been all night long, that middle of the field from 10th to about 25th position, they just can't get off one another. It's just small little pockets here and there. And Richard, it's everyone trying to claw for every spot, but also trying to recognize we got to back off when they get extremely loose.
Yeah, they are doing a really good job when that car starts to break loose, get a little bit out of control. They're doing a good job spotting it of their other competitors and backing off of them, but also the one that's losing control. They're doing a great job keeping that car away from the rest of the field and keeping everybody under green flag racing. And you know, it's going to be interesting to see who can save their tires the longest, because I feel that's what's going to be the name of the game tonight, especially since nobody has to pit the rest of this race for fuel. It is a tire game. You're not going to want to waste your time getting pits, getting those fresh tires. I've got to save these tires. I got to make them last till the end of this race if I want a chance to get up there and challenge for a win.
Seeing some new faces making some big moves there for Ramon. He's on the 26th. Bladen Edwards now up to 11th position. Also seeing rookie this season, Nico Garcia, teaming up with Shane Tarian, and seeing groups of drivers trying to find their own new allies, as we've seen Nico have some great performances on Monday nights in the ISRC Truck Series that we cover here on Freaking Fast Broadcasting. And then what's been fun to watch, having two leagues that we just call, and the majority of those drivers racing in both leagues, is seeing the fun growth. That some drivers, we see them growing in one series and it translates over to another. Nico, we've been learning a lot. He's a rookie in both series, and it's been a joy to see just the small growth that we've seen on Monday nights, and now trying to prove himself here in the Cup cars here on Wednesday nights of the WSSR as they're squeezing up, a wreck happening behind. It's our winner from last week, Joshua Kanata and Cody Reed, slow on the backstretch.
Unfortunate for them is Cody Reed and Joshua Kanata. Unfortunately for Joshua Kanata, who's just trying to stay clean and keep as many points as he possibly can with that win. He just wants to be able to be in that top 20 of points so he can make the playoffs. So unfortunate to see him get into a wreck here. It brought out the caution.
Yeah, not the most favorable position to have drivers get into one another, as having the drivers racing with one another. Joshua Kanata, Cody Reed, those that usually are racing, their teammates with one another on Monday nights, and here tonight, allies, friends, getting into one another off the exit of turn 2. You're going to see Kanata, he kind of goes with that darting move to the inside. Wasn't clear. Cody Reed with a bigger launch, and I don't think either driver expected neither one of them to really be in that same real estate, but they both were fighting for the same position, and there's just a classic racing incident of two drivers just clashing into one another.
Yeah, I think Kanata was just trying to get that straighter launch off the turn to keep that car a little more stable, and just wasn't expecting Cody Reed to be that close to him in that quarter panel when they got into each other. But Cody Reed was trying his best to keep Kanata straight, doing a really good job, but unable to actually keep him straight enough to keep the green flag out. But that's great work by the teammates. You accidentally spin each other out, and then you try to straighten each other out to keep you going, and just unable to keep it going straight.
Or not, as pit road quite busy after this caution. Majority of the field coming into pit road to get service done for themselves. 3 drivers stay out. That's Larry Yingling, Ollie Fonseca, and Chris Stitz that pitted 21 laps ago. They will stay out. Rest of the field, pit stops were calling their names as Ryan Kelly, Ross Tatum, they will challenge off the exit of the corner off of pit road, and it's the 3 that will win that race off. So Ryan Kelly will start 4th, Ross Tatum 5th, and I have found Ross Tatum in the Discord channel, so we're going to see if we can talk to our 5th place driver, as Ross Tatum was our stage winner at the time, and get a sense of how he's feeling on this next restart. Ross, it's Sam and Richard up at the booth. You got us?
Hey, I got you all.
Well, you were our stage winner. We were looking for you on Discord. We kind of lost your name out there, but congratulations on winning this stage. We're coming up to the halfway of tonight's race. How's the car feeling? We see a little bit of nose damage, but how are you also feeling about tonight's race?
Car feels good. I wasn't going to pit unless I knew my car was really affected by the damage, and so far it hasn't. But hell must have froze over for me to win a stage in this league. So looking forward to the rest of the race. Hopefully I just get a good finish tonight.
Yeah, great job on the stage win there, and even with that nose damage. But you gonna try and top it off with top 5, or even try and go and challenge those guys for the win tonight?
I just need a good points night, honestly. So top 5 would be great. I would be ecstatic for that.
Well, Ross, we'll send you back, and good luck for the rest of this race.
Thanks, guys.
Again, that's the 21 Coca-Cola machine of Ross Tatum. Again, these interviews are going to be so quick. It just in a blink of an eye. We're already about to go green with Larry Yingling, Ollie Fonseca, Ryan Kelly, Old Tires going to be starting up front. Ryan Kelly on the outside row, going to be the driver with fresh rubber. And for Ryan Kelly, he loves to see his teammate on the outside. Watch out for a little bit of teamwork and team effort as Kelly's going to get the good launch. He'll follow Yingling. And will Yingling get out of the way, or will they continue to fight and claw? And Yingling stays high as Kelly goes low. There's that teamwork already being shown here on that restart.
Larry Yingling able to let Ryan Kelly shoot straight to the lead, back up front for Mr. Kelly in the number 3 machine. And Larry Yingling's going to sit there and try and play defense for him and let him gain a little bit of a lead. But Larry Yingling might just be trying to sit there and wreck it behind him.
Gonna get into Douglas Newbigin. They slide into the grass. We stay green for now as Douglas moves up on the track. There's the caution as drivers try to scatter their way around. And Thomas Green, also going to be Newbigin. They were trying their best to stay off one another, but 3 wide doesn't last for very long.
Luck strikes again for Douglas Newbigin, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Gets into Thomas Green there, and they both spin through the infield. Sad to see for both those guys. Thomas Green having a fantastic race, and Douglas just trying to get through the field back up front again. But you're going into 3 here. Let's see what happens when they come out of 4. Not a lot of movement. They kind of stacked up right in front of him is what it looks like. And then the 7 might have just gotten to the back of the 31.
There's Thomas. He breaks loose. And then they're stacked 4 wide. There's the tap, and away they go. And luckily, looking at the 7, he does graze back up onto the track with oncoming traffic, and that's what brings out the yellow. But everyone else able to avoid both drivers, and that's the big thing you take kudos for is no one else gained excessive damage with those 2 spinning around.
Yeah, Douglas Newbigin there, just kept it sideways, locked it down, and brought the caution out. Was able to get back, or the car got back up on the racing surface. And that's the downside about cautions here in iRacing is if it's not on the racing surface, the option of coming out is pretty much slim to nil. So these guys spinning off through the infield won't bring a caution until those cars get back out on the racing surface. And just the nose of Newbigin got up on the surface, brought the caution out, and drivers again got to restack and re-rack as we get ready for another restart.
And luckily, again, like we've been kind of harping on all night, yes, there's a lot of contact that's happening between drivers, but they're at so slow speeds. They're not at any really big contacts that are hurting the vehicles. The thing that's hurting them the most is losing the track position, because just making 1 pass takes a couple laps to make. Here's your race report so far. We've had 7 cautions to this point. We've ran over 18 laps with caution laps being put down, 7 lead changes, and we've ran a very nice 69 laps of green flag racing. Richard, I mean, looking at this field so far, 7 cautions. The most we've ever had here at Rockingham in the past was last time we ran here in season 7. They had 10 cautions. The only difference, they were in 150 laps that day. We're running 180, so that's more laps they have to worry about, and more you have to just hold your breath and hope that you survive with. But with these low contact hits, we've only lost 2 drivers so far here this evening. We lost Ryan Ferraro on that first initial incident, and Samuel Garcia back around lap 30 when he had internet issues that took him out of this race. But besides that, I mean, it's shocking the fact that we still have 41 drivers out on track.
Yeah, not even just that. We have 38 drivers on the lead lap. The only drivers lap down are Colin Carroll, GT Irizarry, and Cole Sachet. So even more impressive is the amount of cars we have on the lead lap still here.
They continue to try their best to stay on the lead lap, try to get that damage repair as quickly as you can. And for these drivers, how fast these restarts are, we are about to go back to green flag racing. It's Ryan Kelly going to be the lead driver on this go with his teammate Larry Yingling on the outside. Then they're going to have John Forbes, Seth Noel, as well as Ross Tatum, Ollie Fonseca. Green flag is back out in the air. Old tires were starting to fade, as here we go. Already big dashing move to the outside is Seth Noel, who's trying to get the big run off the exit of the corner. Watch out for the backstretch as that 88's trying to run down the 3.
Trying to run him down off the restart here, and he's got right up to him, about a 2 car length difference between him, and he's going to get a great run through the middle of the turn, get right up next to him, but the run from the outside with Ryan Kelly is going to be able to pull away from him a little bit and gets a huge gap between them. But Seth Noel is still not giving up. He is trying to make that inside line work as they are stacking up 2 and 3 wide behind him.
They're stacking further behind, and oh no, there's the trouble. It's going to be Tanner in the 78. Spun around in front of the field on the backstretch. Yellow flag is out, and it looks to be maybe potential extra contact made of the 78 that was sliding down to the inside as the 2 of Joshua Corner was trying his best to get around, and he does get around. Luckily, no one else extra added to that incident, luckily. As again, it's just 2-3 wide. These stack ups off to the corner, small little taps, and I mean that was just trying to chase the vehicle for so long, and it ultimately went around at the end.
Yeah, it does look like he got a little bit of contact on the nose there from a car trying to dodge him, but yeah, it just kind of got loose, and the car snapped a little loose to the right, and instead of trying to save it, it's the front stretch. But trying to save it, instead of trying to save it, he decides to lock it down and keep as many cars as possible out of the wreck, as a few cars were up in the wall also in front of him. But coming out of 2 here, yep, just hit a bump there, as you can see the car wobble, starts darting left, and instead of just overcorrecting to the right, just locks down the brakes and lets it come to a stop.
Brad Dell, big scare for himself. There's also going to be seeing Edwards slice his way to the inside, and the 2 locked it up, and I was nervous because he needed to release those brakes to get around the 78. And luckily, there was enough space for him to get on by. And another yellow, another slide. And something we haven't talked about here tonight, because we really knew fuel wasn't going to be a big issue with the amount of cautions you're going to have, drivers coming into pit road, and with the fact that drivers pitted, majority of them 10 laps go, 30 laps go, they're in the window making it to the end, is tires. Drivers were given 4 extra sets of tires in pit road to utilize here this evening. Majority of the field has already used 2 sets. Some have used 3. And if you're coming down to the end of this race, we just entered the second half of this race. I mean, Richard, you would prefer to have at least 1 set to work with, but to have an extra one would be most optimal at the end of this race.
Oh, it's definitely nice having an extra set of tires. So 1 set of tires right now is definitely something you would rather have come to the close to this end of this race, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be more than 1 more caution before the end of this race happens, and we have a good potential of seeing even overtime racing as well. So having some fresh rubber, some fresh shoes in the pit lane for you to take later in this run when nobody else does, that could definitely change the fact of whether you finish outside of the top 10 or even challenging for the lead.
As these drivers are stacked up, pace car lights are off. We're going this time by. Again, we want to say thank you to the sponsors that help out with giving drivers more optimal ways of racing, and also helping out the leagues here. We want to say thank you to the title sponsor of VRS. That's Virtual Racing School. VRS has been a instrumental tool in developing champions across the sim racing world, as they've been helping out NASCAR, Coca-Cola, iRacing drivers, and it's been incredible to see how they've been helping out just the casual drivers as well. Their mission is to help you develop into the best driver you can with their tools and knowledge to outperform and get your fullest potential. Go to VRS, that's Virtual Racing School, today to see how your potential can be risen. As down into turn number 1, it's going to be the Ying Yang drivers of Ryan Kelly, Larry Yingling, and trying to defend that Lucky Ducks Motorsports machine, the 88 of Seth Knoll, all over that 67 machine.
All over the back of the 67, trying to get back up in that second position to run down the leader. But Ryan Kelly and Larry Yingling had a fantastic start to this restart here. Both of them shot up front. Larry Yingling doing a good job holding that outside line away from the 88 of Seth Knoll, but looks like he might be able to get a run here and get in front of him. Nope, he might be able to complete it in 3 and 4, though, as a drag race down the backstretch, chasing Ryan Kelly into turn 3.
Trying to go with that dive bomb move is the 88. Is there enough spacing? It doesn't look like it is. And Larry Yingling trying to keep his foot in the throttle, but those older tires, that is the difference of around 20 laps. between what the 67 has compared to others. There's trouble further on back. Looks like Cedric Hunter had a big slide, lost about 10 positions for the 13, but we stay green. But up front, Larry Yingling going to be one of those drivers that's fading back quickly. Also, other drivers deeper in the field. That's going to be the 8 machine of Brian McCann. He's on older tires trying to survive. There's that puff of smoke from the 13 the lap prior. But looking at the older tires, Larry Yingling's done a pretty good job of trying to hold in his position, but it is starting to turn into a real clog-up moment as the rest of the field is finally caught up to that 67.
Yeah, 20 lap difference in tires is really starting to show why new tires are the better way, and taking care of them is the name of the game. And Larry Yingling has done a great job taking care of these older tires, but when you got 20 lap older tires, it's definitely eventually going to just not go your way as everybody's starting to make their moves on him, as Vincent Sora is now looking to get around Larry Yingling as he's challenging Ross Tatum, as they got a little crazy just behind them as they're 3 wide.
That's going to be Zach Hall. That's going to be Brian Noel, as well as going to be seeing a few other drivers trying to get into the mix. Gavin Rogers is now going to be seeing Drew Jewell on the outside row. Drew Jewell into the outside wall as the 00 gets in line right in front of Nick Crawford. Crawford gets a tap, and both drivers a huge save into turn 1. And big kudos to the 00 with being shuffled up there, even with all the slight contact, keeps it off the wall as much as he could, and they continue to race on.
Yeah, they continue racing on, and Gavin Rogers definitely looks like he's struggling a little bit, gets loose quite a bit out of the turns as he's stuck kind of on the inside right now. But he's still hanging on to that top 10. He's in 12th position right now, but they're checking up in front of him as they're going to go 3 wide. You know, they're going to keep it 2 wide, but the 77 bounces off the wall almost down into the Gavin Rogers.
Big thing there. It looked like Zach Hall was trying to slow up because he knew he was going to run into the 24. Drew Jewell didn't recognize that position, ran into Hall, and they'll stay 3 wides. There'll be a squeeze. They'll be tapped, and they'll be throwing each other all around, somehow keeping it straight. Hall, Fonseca. There wasn't a small little rivalry that was building up at the end of last season. Doesn't look like it's over just yet, but caution flags out with a 00 going around.
Oh, a crazy set of moments right there as they were 3 wide coming out of 4 with Alion Fonseca on the outside. Zach Hall looked like he got a little close for comfort there with Ollie, and then the 00 of Brian Noel just kind of drifted up in front of, or onto the side.
It looks like it was drivers reacting to the fact of these drivers going side by side. We're going to take a look at this battle, but it was drivers checking up a Brad Delph in the 72 and the 78 of Tanner. They ran into one another, and that's what officially brought up the yellow, but it was all because of this incident that just started and was kind of the catalyst of drivers having to slow up and not able to react as the 00 goes down into the grass. They continue to see Ollie Fonseca and Zach Hall beat and bang. The 72 slows down, but others did not.
Yeah, there was a lot of cars still going almost full speed around that situation. That's a moment you really need to start slowing down so you don't get involved in the wreck and ruining other people's races as well. But unfortunate to see for Brad Delph and the number 78 there as well. But just doing their best to try and keep out of the calamity that was kind of happening in front of them, and just cars behind them not really.
What happened to Cody Reed there? He found himself being spun around going into pit road as drivers were going into pit road to get service done. Cody Reed locked up his, I don't know what happened. This is a bizarre moment for drivers as they were going into pit road. I mean, Richard, this is not a usual place you see a driver spin out, but it looked like the transition got to Cody Reed.
Yeah, it looks like the transition, exactly what happened. He got on the brakes, got off the banking onto the flat apron there, and just upset the car. Instead of breaking loose to the left, he did a little bit of an overcorrect to the right, and it shot right up the track. So it just shows you that coming into pit road isn't the easiest thing all the time.
It also looks like it might have been also a downshift issue. He shifting down from second to first to just unsettle the car on top of that. And Cody Reed going to be losing time and also going to have to just hate the fact that the camera caught that. Usually you kind of get away with us watching replays. We'll miss some of those moments. Sadly, Cody, we did not miss that one. But we hope to see you get moving forward. As up front, it's going to be drivers of Ryan Kelly, Seth Knoll, going to be those in control, but taking the chance on tires, 25th on back, going to be led by Larry Yingling, Chris Stitz, Brian Noel. Also going to be seeing a few others that have been caught up in further other wrecks, getting extra damage repair. And I'm curious for Larry Yingling, who's looked quick. He's had top 10 speed. having 20 lap pressure tires, how well he can climb through this field.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, he had to do something, though. 20 lap different tires was really starting to hurt his speed. But now we've got the two drivers that start in the back of this field. Vincent Sora has now joined the front as he starts in 4th place on the outside row 2. He's up here challenging and going to try and make it challenge for the win against Ryan Kelly.
Hey, look, it's all 3 of our picks. We've got Ryan Kelly leading the charge, and that's my pick of Noel. We've also got Robert's pick of John Force, and your pick, Vincent Sora, trying to find a way to get by this 3-machine restart underway. As Kelly looks strong, everyone else trying to find their footing off the exit of turn number 2. Again, fresh tires going to be those that are further on back around that 27th position. But up front, everyone's on equal footing. 23-lap-old tires. How well have you protected these tires? And how fast can you be as Noel as well as Force continue to fight side by side for 2nd place?
I think the one thing that I've noticed from last season onto this one, Ryan Kelly, when it comes to tracks that require a lot of tire saving, he tends to do extremely well at, and he is showing it here at Rockingham as his lead is really rarely challenged, and when it is, he's still able to pull away from him even on these older tires.
Honestly, we've got back-to-back races where I feel like Ryan Kelly could be one of the biggest factors to watch out for. We've got Dover next week where Kelly's found great success. He's showing great success here tonight. This 3 looking incredible. But honestly, the biggest shock has to be our stage winner, that 21 of Ross Tatum. Where has this speed been? We always knew that if Ross could kind of get the monkey off his back of getting caught up in wrecks early, he could be a threat, and he is proving it here tonight with a challenge for the lead position. I think we're within 2 laps. Noel is starting to hit his rhythm. That 88 looks quick, and he's starting to find a way to pounce on the 3.
Trying to find a way and pounce for sure, but every time he makes a move, he doesn't have the run to get in front of Ryan Kelly to block off his momentum. Ryan Kelly is just making that outside work really well, getting that momentum around that outside of the lane, so when they get side by side, and the yellow flag is out for further back in the field.
Multiple drivers going to be involved. It's Ben Caney in the 98. It's going to be the primary driver spun around. And it looks like it's trouble between Ben and going to be Cody Reed going down into turn on the backstretch, heading into turn number 3. A couple of other drivers look like they might have gotten some netcode contact, but it's Ben in the 98, who is one of those drivers who we love that he's in the league. He's growing, he's learning each season. He finally got on a team with being a part of Lucky Ducks. But here's one of those incidences where, I mean, I don't know if this is on Ben, this is on Cody, but we'll see here on this replay as they're on the backstretch when the contact is made. But Richard, I mean, if you're in this position, you have Cody Reed kind of trying to get those positions back, frustrated with the wreck that he had going into pit road. You have Ben, who's been riding in the back, taking it easy, and just contact right there.
Yeah, it kind of looked like from a different angle that Cody Reed might have came up the track a little bit, but Ben Keeney then gets tagged by the 14 as he was just sitting there locking the tires down, doing exactly what a driver should be doing. But unfortunate to see for Ben Keeney. It has been great seeing his improvement over these seasons, and yeah, they just kind of came together there going into the turn. And it's just unfortunate to see just getting into that quarter panel, then just the cherry on top there with the hit on the front end.
Yeah, that late tag wasn't great to see, as drivers now going to come into pit road, get damage repair for majority of them that sit in the back. And some drivers in the back that have been getting repairs done that we haven't really talked about. I want to give kudos to Joshua Corner in the 2. We saw him trying to lock it down, avoid Tanner in the 78 earlier in a wreck. A driver we haven't talked about, David Medina Sr. in the 20 machine. He runs in 29th place. He's up actually 6 positions from where he qualified. And with all the wrecks, all the calamity, we talk about just surviving the day. 29th and looking like a pretty pristine vehicle. Hey, you'll take that, because we know the later this race gets in, the more calamity is going to have it up front. You might be able to steal a couple of positions away. Also, Justin Malarkey in 30th. Mark Morales, he had his incident with Ken Campbell. He runs back in 31st and trying to make their charge forward the best that they can.
And you're seeing here with Christopher Wade here in the number 53 machine, got some damage on that right front still. But like Ross Tatum said earlier, the damage he had on his nose really didn't affect him much either. But Ken Campbell, some major front end damage from some earlier wrecks as well. That's a lot of damage here. That actually might be affecting how that car handles, whether it's driving tight or loose, or just does not have that top end speed to be able to compete with the other ones.
Aldi Fonseca, who we saw being up front in the top 10 earlier on, he runs in 38th position. As drivers are about to go green, their pace cars in turn number 3 and 4. Ryan Kelly, still your control vehicle on the outside. Ryan Noel going to be on the inside groove. Ross Tatum following in suit. Where do you go? Where are your allies? Everyone collecting up as they give bumps to each other. It's Kelly with the good launch. He's already clear, and Tatum, that 21, is just trying to roll the top. That's where he's been all night long, and it seems to be his comfort position. Question is, can he stay to the outside of this 88, who's looked mighty comfortable on the inside so far these late couple of runs? As big diving move by the 88 of Noel. He's trying to block the 21 of Tatum. Tatum has to drop to the inside, crossover move, and now here comes Drew Jua into the fight.
Drew Jua has found his way up front, finally allowed his teammate, but Ross Tatum is not giving up easily. He is riding right in that middle lane, right next to those two. He's going to have a pretty decent run, going to slot in between the two Lucky Duck drivers, and he gets a slight bump from the 77 of Drew Jua there as they go into turn 3, and now John Forbes is showing his nose back to these guys and trying to drive to the inside of Drew Jua.
Trying to make big moves, and these braking points these drivers have, they are trying to be so late, and if you cut someone off, they're most likely going to bump you, and that's exactly what happened to Tatum and Drew Jua. Just slight bumps on the entry of the corner. They keep together, keeping it off the wall, and now John Forbes Jr. just has to sit and wait. Where will the one go? Because the placement of where he's going to be and slight contact that could happen in front of him going to be irritating, and there's contact for the 32 as Zach Hall into the outside wall. Hall, gotta be careful. That outside wall is gonna hurt you. If you continue to beat and bang too many times, that collective damage is going to be detrimental later on, as Forbes thinks for another chance to the inside, but also for the lead position. Kelly is back to being under fire by Seth Knoll, who still is attempting lap after lap to go to the inside, but there's just not enough of a big run off the exit to enable this 88 to complete the pass.
Yeah, Seth Knoll has been able to get up and catch Ryan Kelly each and every single one of the laps. The heat transfer from these tires with all these cautions have probably helped him be able to keep them ready and race ready for this, but Ryan Kelly is now protecting that inside line from Seth Knoll, so I think there's something there that Ryan Kelly is seeing, but Seth Knoll's going to get that run down the front stretch from having that high line. He's going to challenge and dive into turn 1. He's going to try to make the pass on a Ryan Kelly, but he's not quite clear as they're still side by side.
Kelly slight pushes the wall. He's going to tap it, but the big wiggle, that was from 2 laps ago, and now this lap, and there was the opportunity, I think, for Knoll. He kind of was showing a fake hand, trying to force Kelly to go down low and enable that 88 to get the massive run off the exit of turn 4, and Knoll back and forth, pick your poison. The 88 is back to the lead position, and Kelly's got to reassess where can he find this extra speed, because the 88 just looked more dominant in clean air, but other drivers in the long run, that's where the 21 is at its strongest, is when we're about 30 laps, 40 laps into a run, which we're about to be entering into.
Ross Tatum right there sitting in third position. Watchings gets up into the draw. A lot of cars getting up into that outside wall out of 4 there. Just a slight tag for each of them, but there was a good 3 or 4 cars that tagged it. But Ross Tatum is now being challenged for that 3rd position, but he is up there sitting pretty, trying to aim and wait for his moment to pounce to make his way to the front again. So right along here with the number 9 of Shane Tarian, who has made his way back up through the field after being involved in some wrecks earlier.
And I think the big reason we're seeing more drivers marching to the top side, again, when we started this race, the track temp, 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Richard, it is ballooned out to an insane 127 degrees Fahrenheit. The air temperature has also risen to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It has just gotten warmer and warmer as the race has gone on, and I think that's why we're starting to see these wiggles, these big slides, moves that would have worked maybe earlier on in the race, just not working anymore, and the outside needs to be where you go.
Yeah, that's not something we see is the track warming up. Typically, we see the track cooling off, but to jump up to 127-degree track temp is insane, and he's going to cook these tires as Shane Tarian gets a small bump from the 27 machine there, but nothing too big, just a small little tap as they go into the turn. Shane Tarian still doing a great job riding back there in the 9th position, just behind Nick Crawford in front of Jared Talmadge.
And now we're in a weird spot with so many drivers rolling on the outside. It just is very tempting to ride that yellow line through the corners and think that you can maybe make a pass or two, but everyone's so clogged up with one another. There's no spacing for you to slide in front of another driver and make a pass. Drivers are really struggling to make any move forward, and if you try to even make a pass, you might lose a position, like we're seeing here for John Forbes. He dove to the inside, got in front of Hall, and now going to be seeing John Forbes' teammate, Vincent Sora, going for an attempt on the inside, but big slide for the 51.
Huge slide for the 51. Is it going to allow Zach Hall to pass him on the outside? Vincent Sora starting to lose ground. He made his way up through the field, but I think he's struggling a little bit on those tires as Nick Crawford is now up on his bumper. Vincent Sora starting to falter and fall back through this field.
Update on drivers that got fresh rubber just about 20 laps ago. That's Chris Stitz, Larry Yingling. They have really not been able to move their way forward as efficiently as I thought they were going to with having a 20-lap advantage. I think they also might be thinking about the long run if this race goes green. And with how hot this track is, let's be a little bit more patient. Chris Stitz up to 19th position. When they started this run, they were back around 25th place. So they've gained a few spots, but not as much as I would expect this long into a run with the tires. All have been up to temp. Is 17. If he wants to utilize these tires, he's got to get rolling quickly, but he's running similar pace to those ahead of him.
Yeah, he's got to figure out how to utilize those newer tires to gain some ground, as he is the highest, like you said, the highest one with newer tires. Riding back here with the number 73, and he's trying to challenge Larry Yingling as well. Justin Malarkey doing a great job keeping up with Larry Yingling right up on his bumper with Cody Reed right in front of him as well.
Oh, so trouble! It's going to be Nico Garcia in front of the field, collecting multiple drivers, and it's another big one. 4, 5, 6, and more collecting through as another late caution comes out.
Late caution looked like ping pong balls through the field there. Cars just bouncing in and out from the inside to the outside walls, and another big wreck you hate to see late in this race, but this might be a chance for the entire field to get new tires as well, as we're down to just over 50 laps left of this race.
That was going to be around the 71, and Nico Garcia, as he was coming out of turn number 2, just snapping loose right there as he was side by side with Douglas Newbegin. He'll come down and clip Edwards, and just one of those things where Bladen Edwards was trying his best to stay high and avoid this wreck, but the aggressive side-by-side racing gets to the 71, just throttles it up, and there's no way of catching this machine at this late into a run. I mean, maybe jabbing the brakes, but that's in front of the field. Collects the 26. Other drivers get hit, and then the 26 comes down into Brian McCann. That's where you collect more drivers into this incident.
Cedric Hunter also trying to dodge that wreck. Car just went right as he was trying to dodge it, and just heavy contact into that outside wall, so that's probably going to be some good damage, possible wheel damage for him as well. But yeah, just coming out of turn 2, Nico Garcia gets a little loose and just unable to save that car, gets into the wall, dives down low, and then just spins it around, involving a few other cars as well.
Third driver to be out of this race. It looks like more internet connection issues. It hits Samuel Garcia. Add Christopher Wade. Drop of packets. He's out of this session currently. We'll see if that 53, as he was on the lead lap, now goes 1 lap down. He was getting damage repair. That's a tough pill to swallow for the 53 team, who looks like he'll be back in 38th position. As another cluster of drivers into pit road to get tires for themselves. Top 9 will be staying out on older tires, with Brian Noel, Ryan Bird, Cody Reed, Larry Yingling, Justin Malarkey, Andrew Medlin, Brad Delph, Joshua Corner, and David Medina Sr. Going to be those 9 drivers that stay out. Seth Knoll, Ryan Kelly, 10th and 11th on this upcoming restart, with 50 laps to go here tonight. Drivers are stacking up. Again, we want to say thank you to some of these sponsors. GTR Simulators. GTR Simulators is your place to go if you want to find yourself racing, having your own rig at home that feels like you're racing on the pro level. Remember, when purchasing, use the promo code WSSR at checkout for 10% off on all purchases over $100 or more at GTRsimulators.com. Don't miss out on your chance to upgrade your rig and race like the pros. Also want to say thank you to Trophy Smack, our trophy provider since season 4. Crazy to think of it. We're into season 11 now. Originally, it was championship rings. Then we went to championship trophies. And guess what? They've got more trophies that you can check out that can be customized or pre-made. championship rings, belts, and more to be seen. Thank you to TrophySmack.com. Use the promo code WSSRSmack for 10% off at TrophySmack.com. Green flag's on the air. Noel with a little bit of a wiggle and a slide, and Ryan Bird going to be taking advantage on the inside for the 49. But here's the run off the exit of the corner. It's Noel with a huge run off the exit. If he can keep it straight, and he does, they drag race and trouble in the back. Oh, it's the 2 of corner, collecting few others. Looks like that's going to be Ross Tatum involved. As we stay green, they're still piling. Now Nick Crawford around and let chaos reign all around this field.
Oh man, Ross Tatum involved in that spin on the back stretch. A strong run from him could have potentially been ended early, but after that, wrecking going into turn 3 as well, involving Nick Crawford as he spins around, and just a crazy start as these guys are still trying to spin it out to get straight.
Well, can you get forward? You can see there, they were already 3 wide. The 2 is going to be on the outside. So they squeeze off the exit, stacked 4 wide. That's not going to work. There's the hard contact with the 2, and then further up ahead, it's going to be seeing the 74 of Nick Crawford. He'll get tagged, and he gets sent sideways. That was the second issue that popped up, and there's Ben Keeney also involved. And here's going to be another look at that incident with people one shot to see how the 74 gets by the first wreck as cleanly as he can, but everyone's trying to slow down, make their way through, and once again, a 4 wide stack, that's not going to work. And Crawford tossed around Keeney with locking it down and just shuffled him to the inside. And those were our 2 separate incidences that brought out our current caution we're in.
Yeah, 3 wide doesn't work very well at Rockingham, so that just goes to show 4 wide definitely does not work. 2 4 wide situations into the same lap on the same straightaway at that, and 2 separate wrecks with that as well. Just goes to show 4 wide at Rockingham, probably not the smartest thing to do. An unfortunate end to a strong run for Ross Tatum. He can still probably get back out there. Didn't look like he had a lot of damage on that car, but it's going to be a mountain to climb to get back up to this field.
12 cautions so far as we've ran 32 laps under caution, 9 lead changes, 100 laps of green flag racing so far. And, you know, with the way that we were kind of being told by the drivers that this race was going to go, I think we were expecting more cautions already at this point. 133 laps in, how quick the restarts have been. I mean, at this point, we could have had 17 to 21 cautions already if we had really maxed out our cautions being thrown, but we've had some decent long runs. This has been pretty pleasant of a Rockingham race to see, with some great racing action up front in the middle. It's just those tight squeezing moments and times of contact that have brought out these yellows.
Yeah, there's been some fantastic green flag runs they've had tonight. So 12 cautions for 134 laps so far into this race isn't too bad for a Rockingham race, regardless of the drivers that are in the race. But they're doing a great job. And like you said, there should have been a lot more than just 12. A lot of the drivers have done a fantastic job controlling their car and getting it back under control. So seeing only 12 with the amount of cars that have been wiggling and wobbling, that can't be too upsetting for a lot of these drivers.
Absolutely not. We have lost another driver who has officially called it a night. That's going to be the 26 of Layden Edwards. His debut race, not the way he was hoping it would go. 38th position currently. I might lose a few more spots. Up front, it's Brian Noel. We saw that last restart, a little bit of wiggle for the 00. Much cleaner start this go around. Ryan Bird not able to keep up with the same pace. Cody Reed, Lee England going to be on the out, going to be behind them. Big diving move by the 88 of Sentinel that doesn't want to wait for anyone. There are going to be a stack 2 wide, almost 3 wide, as Vincent Soar with the big run through the middle of the pack. And oh no, Malarkey back in front of the field. Oh no, another caution and wreck bound to come out as they continue to pile in. More drivers collected, and that's another huge wreck to begin.
Oh, Justin Malarkey getting loose out of turn 2. The problem turn, especially on cooler tires, on restarts, just gets loose coming out of turn 2 and spins so ever slowly back in front of the field. Vincent Sora almost not involved in it. He was slowing down to get around Malarkey, but then gets hit from behind, which kind of pushes him into the incident. And then just cars going everywhere, involving a few others. Zach Hall as well, a car that was involved in this wreck.
And we kind of seen similar wrecks like this happen where you give a chance to maybe save yourself. There's the big jump by the 88 of Noel. He was trying to get by that 73 machine, but you're going to see here by Malarkey, there are multiple different ways that he could have escaped out of this wreck without more wrecks. The tap of the 80 is frustrating, but he gets sent to the outside, and at this point, you try to just lock it down and hope you don't drift back up, but he's got too much momentum that sends him back to the outside, collects Zach Hall, but it's Vincent Soar and others that were a part of that initial just slide up of trying to save the vehicle that collects way more than we were expecting. As here's another look at it, the 51 and others just trying to save as much as they can. I think I'm going to take another outside look. There really wasn't much that Malarkey could do. Initially, I thought maybe he could have saved by locking it down there, but there was just so much traffic heading his way. And then it's just the extra pileups of more drivers coming in. That's Colby DiCarlo, who really got turned around, got more drivers involved, and just tough to see all these drivers being tossed around, and that is the one of John Forbes also involved with this incident.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars there coming into turn 3, just all of them still at full speed, it seemed like, and just last-minute decisions finally start slowing down as they all dove to the outside wall to try to get around this, but there were cars already out there. The 22 there got spun around, got up into Vincent Soar, and there it is, the pile-up just inside of turn 3, and then that's John Forbes sitting. A lot of damage to that number 1 machine for our prior season champion.
I mean, we talked about last week just slightly how John Forbes is trying to break the curse of the championship number 1. Zach Hall attempted it. They brought that in as a new addition of if you're a champion the previous season, you have the right to pick the one car the next, the one number, I should say. And for Zach, it was a tough one to grab that go around. There wasn't much the one could do. I mean, everyone just closing in, right into one another, and just like that, we've got ourselves another restart, an attempt here as we're closing in on 40 laps to go here tonight. It's going to be Brian Noel, going to be that 00 Ryan Bird that continue to attempt to be up front, and this is helping those older tires keep position for longer in this race. Only problem, watch out for that third car on the outside. That's that double. That's going to be the 88 machine of Seth Knoll, who's going to be pressuring forward. Drew Jua also going to be one of those drivers watching out for. Jared Talmadge, they are back, 7th on back, fresh rubber and willing to attack. Into the restart zone, we are green, and another great launch for the 00 Ryan Bird. Much cleaner start for himself as we're already 3 wide back around that row number 4.
3 wide back and 4. These drivers seem to have not have learned anything as they are
contact for
Ryan
the lead.
Bird. A little bit of contact for the lead. Ryan Bird gets shot down low, but he keeps it straight as they pile up again. 3 wide into turn 3.
Trying to hold steady as Larry Yingling off the exit of the corner. He'll be pressing for the lead position. Everyone scattering for the positions they can grab here early on. Yingling down low. Talmadge going to be following also the 88 of where Noel will go as Brian Noel in a 00 trying to hold steady. Everyone wheel spinning off the exit of the corner, and they're almost a stack 3 wide down into turn number 3. Noel bounces into the wall, trying to utilize to keep position. Yingling slides in front, and there's another sliding wreck on Talmadge. Noel, let's add a few out in the outside. Another big wreck. Hey, what's another caution to be added as it's more drivers up front piling in.
If you didn't look at the laps complete, you could tell it's near the end of the race with the aggression these drivers are showing and the amount of space they are not giving each other as they were fighting it tooth and nail for that lead position. All 5 of these drivers. But Larry Yingling just got pushed a little bit by Seth Knoll, and Jarrett Talmadge got spun sideways, and down the track he goes, collecting a lot of cars behind him. Huge damage for a lot of drivers midfield.
I think Yingling, who got loose, drifted up and kind of started that wreck, got through as cleanly as he could. I look at this wreck again as we try to get these drivers. You're seeing the chaos, the pushes they're going for. Jared Talmadge, he's got fresh rubber. He's trying to push with Noel in that 88 machine. Yingling's been looking really rough on these older tires off the exit of the corner. He's been wiggling every other lap. And you see his drivers get into the outside wall. There's the wiggle, the contact into the outside wall, and then everyone surrounds him. And then it kind of clears up as he taps the wall, gets a push from Thomas Green. Green doesn't survive, but Yingling does.
That has got to be a rabbit's foot in the tailpipe of Larry Yingling, as his looseness is what really caused that incident. but gets out with just a little push on the rear end there, and that's it. He's got a little bit of cave-in on that rear bumper, but Larry Yingling, as clean as you could possibly get, gets through the wreck that he kind of started and is still sitting pretty up there in the top 5.
He might have traded in one of his 3 WSSR championships for that lucky moment. That was a wild thing to see from the 3-time champ, as Yingling will be in 4th. We're right on board with our Season 1 champ, Brian P. Johnson. He rides in 5th. I mean, this is one of those things where you're surprised on drivers making it through, and there's the slight contact that was given on the rear right quarter panel where the 67 is. That's where Thomas Green just pushed the 67 through that wreck, and he'll continue to race on. Brian Noel, old tires, still going to be in the lead position, but he's got some new competition behind him. Returning driver who started 2nd, Shane Terrian, going to be in that 2nd place position with Drew Jua 3rd. 4th is Larry Yingling. 5th is Brian P. Johnson. And I haven't brought up this fun stat that I found when I was doing the research for tonight's race, because I was waiting until the end of the race to throw it out there. Richard, we've ran here 2 times in the past, and both drivers that have won this race started in 2nd position. That's where Shane started back in Season 7 when he won this race. We'll see if we can find that matchup once again. The only stat, though, that he might miss out on is the driver that won the race also led the most laps, so Shane needs to get up front quickly and start leading some laps if he wants to continue the trend of the driver who starts in 2nd, leads the most laps, and wins at the Rock.
Yeah, he definitely does, but he's definitely in a very strong position with fresher tires and right up front to make it happen, especially with Brian Noel on 20-lap older tires than him. But also, we've got Cody Reed up there in the 6th position. Also, he's made his way back up through the field from his misfortune.
Whew, a lot of scares, a lot of hopefulness that their race isn't over, and we're starting to see some new faces cracking into the top 15 as green flag is back into the air. Old tires from Brian Noel will stay on the outside. Pushing and banging going to be happening on the inside crew. That's the 9 machine of Shane Terrian. Also Drew Jua, as they're trying to make the inside row work as quickly as they can. Noel with the better run and momentum with riding on the outside, but Terrian finally clear for 2nd. This is the chance for the 9 to take that lead position as Brian Noel just utilizing that wall to straighten himself out and off the exit of the corner.
Shane Terrian will take the lead and lead that lap off the restart. Brian Noel getting into the wall, and Shane is just throwing it into these turns. He's going to drift up the track. He's got to get in front of Brian to be able to block the run, and he will. Drew Jua is also side by side with his teammate as well, as he's going to try to chase down Shane. Is Shane now the definite leader of this race here at Rockingham? Will he be able to continue the stat of starting 2nd place and coming home with the win?
I mean, it's going to be a tough thing to see. Shane Terrian looks good on those fresh rubber in the first about 10 to 15 laps. It was the long run where he was struggling the most and was really falling away. Drew Jua, this is our first true sense of what speed the 77 has up front. As Brian Noel, I mean, seeing how well the Bryans can fight around one another. You got Noel, you got Johnson, and also the driver who's dominated this race so far, Ryan Kelly, now going to be in 5th position. Where can he slot his way forward? And what a redemption run for the 7 at Douglas Newbigging. We're closing in on the final 30 laps of tonight's race, but this is a beautiful return for the 7 that missed out on stage bonus points, but could redeem himself with a good finish at the end of this race.
Yeah, he definitely can. This has been a fantastic recovery run from him as they're going 3 wide. Almost gets into the quarter panel of Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly got into Brian B. Johnson there a little bit, got him a little loose on the front stretch. As they're going 3 wide again, these drivers are definitely knowing the laps are counting down. The end is coming near. Ryan Noel gets a little loose out of 2, but they're clear of the 3 wide. And Ryan Kelly clearly up in 3rd position now, ahead of all the other drivers.
That was the picture-perfect moment that Kelly could have asked for, as Johnson had to back out of it with the big wiggle he had. Now it's going to be Douglas Newbigging stuck in a similar situation. Can he get the same luck to push through the middle and get by the 00 and the 28? As for Brian P. Johnson, this has got to be frustrating on the fact that he's got fresher tires, but just can't get by the 00. They continue to stay 3 wide, and Johnson backs out, and he continues to lose time as Noel allows his teammate to go on by, but into the wall right in front of Crawford. Noel, huge damage for the 00 as he somehow continues to keep pace.
Massive smack against the wall for the 0-0 of Brian Noel, but that will allow Brian P. Johnson to finally get around the 0-0. Now Brian P. Johnson can get a run and try to catch the drivers in front of him that he's lost ground to, but Ross Tatum, he has recovered and is up to 8th position after that spin on the backstretch.
And also, you see Ross Tatum, you see behind him as well, there's the one machine. Caught up in the last big one. John Forbes, last season's champion. Yes, he was stuck. Yes, he was hit multiple times. But Forbes, with some of the freshest tires of anyone, even with the damage he's collected, he's on the hard charge to run down our front runners.
Great recovery for John Forbes as well, getting massive damage in one of those big wrecks in turn 3, and he is making a recovery run. He is running those tires to the ragged edge, trying to, because he's got the freshest tires out of all of them. And then we got Gavin Rogers back here, some major damage to his front end as well, as he's back in the 13th. Not having the strongest run we usually see him do, but he's still holding on, still a decent finishing position with this field, especially with that front end damage he's racing.
It's just a wall that's starting to build up behind the 67 of Larry Yingling. Yingling on 50 lap old tires. Cody Reed on the outside with 50 lap old tires. Everyone else, 11 lap old tires. They've got fresh rubber, but drivers are so damaged, they just cannot feel comfortable to go with these dive bomb moves to utilize their rubber, except for that one right there. Tanner pushes it down low, gets into Cody. Cody with the drift, overcorrects, but a little bit of assistance. Still, oh no, Cody barrels hit for the 25, and he's gonna be done. Takes off and go. No caution is thrown, and for Cody, oh man, a frustrating time. Went forced 3 wide, spun around, thought he was saved. Not gonna be the case. Here's a replay of what just happened as the 78 took no regard, saw the momentum, forced it 3 wide, and said, oh, whoever gets taken out, they get taken out.
Yeah, 78 driving down to the inside. Dive bomb move to the 72. And I don't think Cody Reed was expecting. He was trying to pinch a 72 down, but Cody Reed just unable to control the car, just keeps getting hit, spun, and straight into the pit barrels. A heavy hit. That breaks that right front. That is probably going to be race ending for Cody Reed.
Cody Reed has taken it to pit road. He looks to be completely out of this race, and we set our sights further up ahead as Shane Darian currently charging up, saving his tires. He's got almost a little bit under a half a second gap lead over Drew Jua. Ryan Kelly a little bit over a second away from the 9 machine in 3rd. Douglas Newbegin in 4th. He's about a little bit over a second and a half back. So our top 4 still within striking distance if they can find the quick pace, but the laps are not being their friends. We are closing in on 20 laps to go. Ryan Kelly, he's got some traffic ahead of him, but the 3 is trying his best to move forward. As you look at other drivers and where they line up, here's John Forbes as well as Ross Tatum. 7th on back. They are trying everything as they can.
Thomas Green, another one of those drivers with some major damage in one of those wrecks, is up here sitting just inside the top 10, running in 10th position, chasing down the 4 of Colin Carroll. So these guys have had a great recovery run with all this damage they've acquired, doing a really good job up here in the top 10. We've got Joshua Kanata challenging back there in the 12th position, trying to get around Brian Noel with all his damage and old tires as well. So the number 4 looking low on Ross Tatum, trying to get around him, make that pass. He's right up on his bumper. He's going to try the inside dive bomb move, maybe. Nope, Ross Tatum's going to keep that middle lane, and they're just going to follow in line on the outside.
Colin Carroll, probably one of the funnest rookies to watch after last week's race at Daytona, with all the moves he was trying to make, trying to be the control vehicle and diving everywhere. This is awesome to see from the 4, who's up 20 positions from where he started here tonight. It's been great to see some of these rookies showing great mental fortitude, and honestly, Colin Carroll already just in 2 races looking like the front runner for Rookie of the Year as he's trying to hold back some top contenders of Thomas Green, Ross Tatum. The damage showing on all 3 drivers, and they continue to fight back and forth as you see Thomas Green. He doesn't want to just sit back. He's willing to attack. Is the freaky fast 31.
He does a great move, a shoot to the inside, and is able to clear Colin Carroll very cleanly and quickly through the turn. That is the move you want to make when trying to make a pass. And now he's going to get right back up to Ross Tatum. These two have been racing around each other almost all race. These two, great competition and great racing between them. But now Thomas Green wants to take that position away from that of Ross Tatum and trying to get his chance to get up there to the top 5.
We got to move up to the battle for second place. It looks like for Drew Jua, he's hit his limit. Those tires are floundering. He is not able to hold the same grip and pace that he once was about 10 laps ago. Ryan Kelly, on the other hand, he is one of the fastest drivers out on track. The other fast driver, Douglas Newbegin. Issue, he's a second back is, oh boy, Ryan Kelly just risking it with that slashing move to get to the outside and through 1 and 2. And these passes, these positioning moments, the outside so preferred off the exit of turn 2 to get these big runs. And now Shane Terrian looks in his mirror. The 3's getting closer, and now it's just about 3/10 the difference between first and second. But also keep your eyes out on the 7 of Douglas Newbegin. If he can keep that nose clean and continues at this pace and rate, he might start to catch up and be a 4th driver in the mix for the battle for the lead.
Yeah, if you're Shane Terrian, that is the car you do not want to see in your rearview mirror. Ryan Kelly, he has been the fastest driver on long runs, and he is showing it still. These two drivers sitting on 36-lap-old tires, and Ryan Kelly looks like he has fresh shoes on that car. He's making a fantastic pass on Shane Terrian, and he just has like 10-mile-an-hour more speed down the front stretch as he's going to make the pass for the lead on Shane Terrian, and he'll take it coming out of 2.
That was the big weakness that we saw early in this race, and was curious if he could maybe learn from those early mistakes of Terrian on the long run pace. He just could not figure it out. Instead, redemption. Ryan Kelly has looked dominant, but the 7 of Douglas Newbegin gets by Drew Jua, now up into 3rd, and it's been the difference going back and forth between Ryan Kelly, Douglas Newbegin, and John Forbes Jr. Those have been the 3 fastest drivers here the last 10 laps. And Kelly's got fresh air. That's a big issue for the 7 of Douglas Newbegin, but Newbegin is putting the pressure and trying to run down this 9, coming up to 13 laps to go.
That's the downside about Newbegin right now, is he's got to tear these tires up to try and have a chance to catch Ryan Kelly. And the question is he going to tear him up too much to when he does, and if he does catch up to Ryan Kelly, will he have enough resources to make the pass? As we are closing in on this race, 13 laps to go, 12 as they cross the line as they come out of turn 4 here. But he's still got to get around Shane Terrian, and that's not going to be a super easy feat as well. He's got a lot of speed, but he's got to get the momentum down a straightaway so he can make that dive move into a turn and make that pass nice and clean and get in front of him out of the turn, because you don't want to spend too much time side by side.
And if we look at the past, again, only have ran here twice in the last 10 seasons in the WSSR VRS Cup Series, and there has not been one time that we've had to go to overtime. But there is still a lingering chance as Douglas Newbegin, big sliding move to the inside and finally going to be clear. Let the race be on. 11 laps to go. The difference, 1.1 seconds between Ryan Kelly and Douglas Newbegin. And Newbegin going to have just a few moments of fresh air. Maybe save these tires for a quick moment. And then it's attack mode for Ryan Kelly. Curious on what he's been doing for his tires. If he's been trying to just build this gap, or is he thinking about saving his tires for these final 10 laps? But ultimately, again, we've seen late cautions in the past here in the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Richard, I know the leaders are crossing their fingers and hoping that we stay green, but a yellow could be looming with how close the middle of the field is on top of one another.
Oh, the yellow will definitely turn this race on its head, and we might get it. We got a huge shunt in the back of the field, but Nico Garcia able to keep it straight, got a huge hit from the 88. But they're keeping it straight. But Ryan Kelly just keeps increasing his lead over Douglas Newbegin. Douglas Newbegin does have 8-lap newer tires than him, but he used a lot of that resource to try to get around his teammate of Drew Jua and then Shane Terrian. So Douglas Newbegin is trying to find whatever he's got. If he can find some grip around the track, he might be able to gain some ground on on Ryan Kelly. But right now, with only 8 laps to go as they cross the line, this race could look like it's Ryan Kelly's to lose.
And the battle going on for 4th and 3rd place now underway as John Forbes Jr. has gotten into the mix to try to get by those drivers. Also the battling for 6th position as Nick Crawford trying to assess if he can get by Thomas Green or if Green's just not a fight that he can get by. And some of those other incidences you were talking about of close racing action, the drivers around 20th back to around 24th. They are getting very close to one another, and they are getting antsy. If we're going to see a caution, it could be around that 20th, that 21st to 23rd position mark, or it could be from up front as John Forbes Jr., big slide for himself. Shane Terrian as well, right in front of Drew Jua.
got into each other a little. Both of them get a little loose, but they're keeping it straight. A lot of momentum lost, though. And John Forbes up to third place. He's got newer tires than that of Douglas and Ryan. So he is trying to put the gas where he needs, put nitro mode on that car to catch those guys, but he is 3 seconds behind. It's looking rough for John Forbes to get up there and try to win this race. But with new tires, it is still possible with 5 laps to go when they cross the line this time around.
Yeah, I don't know if winning the race is going to be the key thing. Is contact actually going to be made between second and a lap car as Douglas Newbegin getting into the 22. Looks like going to be seeing how well can DeCarlos get passed by drivers as he was stuffed into the outside wall by the 7. Now we're ready to go as battling for 4th place. Drew Jua falls back and the 31 moves forward. Lap traffic still going to be around one another as Jared Tolman stays high. Lets Kelly drive on by, and with 5 laps to go, Ryan Kelly, he has been the dominator. Now make it 4. I mean, Richard, this has been one of those races in the past. I think back to season 8, season 9, when Ryan Kelly showed that he was the fastest driver and he was the strongest in clean air. He was unstoppable, and oh no, there's the caution. Trouble in the back, and it's Shane Terrian in the 9.
Shane Terrian in the 9, the 77 getting a little loose also. They all just kind of stacked up. Then Shane Terrian gets hit in the right rear quarter panel, spun him sideways, and now Sam, this will be overtime here at Rockingham with only 3 laps to go in regular contention. And here we go, right along with the number 9, heading out of turn 2 on the backstretch is Drew Drua up there against the wall. He's just all sorts of out of control. This is actually on the front stretch. I was out of 4. But the 77 is struggling to keep that car under control. Is in the wall in 3 and 4. Gets back up into the wall again. And 2. Kind of doors the 31 almost, and just massive check up there. 31 gets loose into the 77. The 77 down into Shane Terrian. And Shane just spun sideways on the track, gets it stopped. Hopefully no other wrecks, nobody piling in this time. He just keeps it in the center, backs it down when it's safe, and just a mild spin, but now drama for the end of this race.
And it is not over yet, because with the drivers going across the line, some heading to pit road, we have officially entered into overtime. We have 3 attempts if needed. We are going into overtime attempt number 1. And we got drivers on old tires, those on new, and the biggest fear for our top 2, John Forbes, is back in the mix. He's closer than ever, and we've seen drivers in the 2nd, the 3rd row. If they can get a good enough launch, they will be in the fight for that lead position if the leader does not get a good exit out of turn 2. And now this makes things a little bit more fun to watch. There's a little bit of trouble for Shane Terrian exiting out of pit road, but he's already going to be starting deeper in the field, as it's going to be our top 16 drivers staying out on older rubber. That's Ryan Kelly, Douglas Newbegin, John Forbes Jr., Nick Crawford, Thomas Green going to be your top 5 with Drew Jua with 6th. 7th is Brian P. Johnson, Ross Tatum, Vincent Sora, Colin Carroll will be your top 10. Old tires for themselves, it's Andrew Medlin in 16th on back. It's going to get some fresh rubber. Now make that Joshua Kanata in 16th with the freshest of tires.
That's an interesting call. That I was expecting to see a lot more drivers come down pit road, at least those past the top 10, but 16th on up, all on those 15th on up, all on those old 37 lap or older tires. So we'll see what those drivers back from 16 on back with like Gavin Rogers, what they can do on new tires. They're going to have a lot more speed and a lot more grip. They might be able to have a chance to break into the top 10 again, if not sooner, but we'll have to see as we have a green-white checkers coming up.
Green-white checkered, it's pretty easy. You got 2 laps when we go green. If we get a caution under that first lap before we take the white flag, we will go into overtime attempt number 2. But if we take the white flag and it is officially 1 lap to go, this race comes down to who can cross the line first and win Rockingham race number 2 of season 11. We are green. Ryan Kelly going to get the good launch for himself, but watch out for others behind, and it's already a wreck. Caution's already thrown as it's trouble further on back and even further up front. Drivers continue to pile in on the entry of turn 1. And oh boy, welcome to overtime attempt number 2.
Overtime attempt number 2. And just like the start of this race, they wrecked before crossing the start finish line. And then further up into the pack, they spin after the yellow was already out, but Zach Hall was involved in that wreck
And
right
it looked
off
like the
the start as well.
91 of Martin Morales was that driver currently in 29th position. He tried to take off and go, and it did not go the way that he was hoping and went straight up into Zach Hall as the green flag was thrown. And that will reset us and stack us back up on this initial start as see drivers on fresh rubber trying to get rolling. And we saw this on lap 1 at the start of the race. You just gas it up, and it does not take off the way that you were hoping for, right in front of Hall. Also collecting slight damage from the 2. Talmadge locks it down because he doesn't want to get more damage involved. And then it's further up ahead. I don't know, Richard, if you saw what happened ahead of them, but that's what initially brought out our yellow.
No, I definitely did not see what happened in front of them, but yeah, that Martin Morales there, that just the tire spin adds something you got to worry about on those restarts because that car will just kind of turn right when that happens. But looks like the number 20, he was getting involved with the 15. Yeah, he got involved with the number 15, kind of going low, just gets a little loose and just a small spin up the track. That's all that was.
And this is going to be one of those things where you go green, you're quickly going down into the corner, yellow flag is thrown, everyone's checking up, and contact is made with Ken Campbell into David Medina. And luckily, I believe no one else involved. It was just another quick spin that happened there. Again, with the fact that we went green, no one's expecting it to go green-yellow right when you start a restart.
No, you definitely don't expect it to go right to yellow as soon as that green flag drops. So that's just confusion all around from all the drivers. But good job, great heads-up racing by majority of the rest of the field behind them, though, being able to dodge. We haven't seen a lot of that all race. It's been a lot of pile up into the cars in front of you. But they've done a good job on that, being able to dodge and causing any more damage as they get ready to stack back up and re-rack for green-white checkered overtime attempt number 2.
Hey, with these quick restarts, as we look at our race report, 16 cautions. I know in the chat, there's been a lot of discussions at the start of the race with so many cautions that were coming out. What was the true number going to be on yellows? Well, 16 is where we're at currently. We still have 2, if potentially coming out, that could shake things up if we get another quick yellow. I know our producer Robert wants it to stay green for this next restart, so he can say that his guess was correct. As drivers are stacking up side by side, again, here's the way that overtime rules work. It is a green-white checkered, 2 laps to go. We go green. If we stay green throughout this first lap and we take the white flag, this race becomes official and is about who can cross the line first. But if we get a caution under this first lap before the white flag, we will go into attempt number 3. Attempt number 3, there's slightly different rules. We'll talk about them if we need to go there. Up front, it's Ryan Kelly as well as Nick Crawford. How well can they take off and go here? Second attempt in overtime is underway. Rest of the field hoping to keep it straight, but Kelly, immediate start. Huge run for himself. Over 3 car lengths ahead over Crawford and Forbes. Crawford able to blitz his way forward. Forbes throws it away. It's all Ryan Kelly ahead as a calamity further on back, but we stay green.
They stay green. They're still trying to keep it straight back there, but they're going around turn 3 and 4. Right now, the cars are keeping it straight, but Ollie Fonseca gets turned back there in the back. They're still green. Yellow does not come out. This race is official as Ryan Kelly leads them down into turn 1.
Ryan Kelly, he's been fighting for this chance to get back into victory lane. There goes Brian P. Johnson. He's going to be wrecking further on back. More drivers going to be involved with it. But Ryan Kelly, all on his lonesome as madness continues to collect. It's just the 3, all on his own. You dominate, you take the win. Kelly is back into victory lane in the WSSR VRS Cup Series. Congratulations on winning at the Rock. As we continue to wait and see more drivers are piling into one another, you got to be careful with all these late contacts as drivers are losing positions, losing time. And Richard, honestly, everyone from 10th on back just kept running into one another.
Yeah, it was just a wrecking fest back there from 10th on back as they were coming to the line. But Ryan Kelly dominating the Rock and takes it to victory lane. A great run for the number 3 machine as he's going to celebrate in the grass. Congratulations to Ryan Kelly on win for number 1 for season 11 of the VRS Cup Series.
It's been a great run for Ryan Kelly. It's awesome to see him get back into victory lane where he has shown he can be so good, especially with these next-gen cars. It's great to see him finally find this success for himself. As the 3 is burning it down, we will step away. When we come back, we've got the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3 in a spotlight driver. We've got Ryan Kelly, John Forbes, Nick Crawford, and another driver. We will add to it when we come back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting's post-race show for the WSSR VRS Cup Series for Season 11, Race 2 of the Rock. As we got to see overtime attempt number 2 being thrown around, and ultimately it was the driver that got up front and stayed up front when he was up there, Ryan Kelly, the dominator of this evening. Ryan, congratulations on winning here tonight, as well as becoming our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the day from last to first. How are you feeling after your performance here tonight?
Yeah, this is awesome. I can't believe it. I wound up crashing in qualifying, so crashed on lap 1 and it crossed the line for lap 2, so counted for both. So I had to start in the back, and figured there'd be quite a few wrecks tonight. Just tried to take my time and save the tires, and it just all worked out in the end.
Yeah, you were really tearing the track up in that first stage there. Were you just trying to get as high up as you possibly could to get track position when those cautions did come out so you could stay away from all the calamity?
Yeah, we started pretty good there. Had a little like 20 laps in that first stage there, and I didn't know if I could make it up to stage points, but was definitely thinking about if something happened at the end, trying to flip it and be up there for the long run, and wound up happening that way, and just worked out in the end. And man, wow, I'm just so excited.
It certainly did work out in your favor, Ryan. Awesome to see you back into victory lane. We always know that you're going to find speed at these intermediate courses. We're heading to another one next week at Dover. How does tonight's race help you on trying to build confidence into next week?
Yeah, it definitely helps. Started the last couple seasons slow, so it's nice to have a good points cushion here for getting good finishes in the first couple races, and won't really have to think about that. Can more just think about the race week by week. So definitely builds the confidence, and looking forward to the upcoming tracks. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Cannot wait for it either. Well, before we let you go, Ryan, the floor's now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, just all the drivers in the league that make it so competitive, the admins and everyone for putting on the show, and you guys for broadcasting, and shout out all my teammates, and hope everyone enjoyed.
Well, that will be your winner here tonight. Ryan Kelly back into victory lane. Enjoy this one, Ryan. Congratulations also on taking the Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the day. And good luck next week at Dover.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
As we move down from victory lane, we go to second place to talk to a driver who, at one moment, I would say, being caught up in some of those late wrecks, thought maybe his race was over. He kept fighting and clawing for all those positions back and ultimately takes second. We've got last season's champion of John Forbes Jr. with us. John, congratulations on second. I know it was a grueler to get to that position. How are you feeling after your run here this evening?
Yeah, I really had no business being up there after those wrecks. I mean, I thought the car was destroyed probably 4 or 5 different times in this race, but I kept bringing it back down pit road and it would be like minute and a half of damage. I'm like, all right, cool. And when I was in that last wreck, I got front and rear damage, came down. It was like a minute 50, I think. I was like, I'll just put the last set of tires on. It was like 40 to go. And I remember Ross Tatum had front end damage, and it looked like his car was driving great. Like it looked so tight compared to everyone else's, and we were all struggling being loose. So I ended up I wasn't able to fix all the damage. So we went from there on that restart and back in like, I think it was around like 30th place, and just kind of marched all the way back to the front. So that was really fun. Got lucky with that last caution, so I could pick off a couple more spots. But yeah, it was definitely grueling. I almost wrecked myself so many times in this race. Even on the last restart, went into turn 1 in 4th gear, and it just broke loose on me. I thought I was going to go around there. So yeah, it was wild, but it was just a super, super fun race when we were actually racing, going green.
Yeah, great run for you, John Forbes. Coming out second place after what could have been an easy end to your night. They're going into turn 3. I mean, what was it like going through a lot of those big wrecks near the end of the race while, sitting back there in like the 10th place and further?
Yeah, I got pretty lucky with the wrecks overall. Like there were some guys like Zach that just kept getting into every single one. They just kept falling into his lap. So there was only 1 or 2 that were really close to me or that I was like heavily involved in. The rest kind of were just like, oh, I got a few tabs, spun out, like kept going. So I'm grateful that I was able to get through those big wrecks without too much damage. Same with Vinny too. We had a great recovery. But yeah, overall, I mean, just cannot complain finishing second here tonight. Me and Vinny were like, no way. We finished 2nd and 5th here. And even Thomas, he had like 5-10 minutes of damage on his car. He finished 10th. And then Jarrett got a little bit more unlucky, but yeah, there was all kinds of wrecks tonight, like that really big one that happened on the front stretch, and we were like, oh, who's in it? And then we just saw all of our team cars involved. Me and Vinny were like, no. So yeah, to come out with a pretty clean points night overall, I mean, we can't complain.
Not bad at all for that nightmare-fueled team. John, we're heading to Dover, Texas, and then the new track heading to Portland International. What is your mindset heading to these next couple of racetracks, still with all being different type of courses that these top 5 are?
Yeah, Dover and Texas are places I always seem to run pretty strong. Haven't run the next gen at Texas, I don't think, besides maybe the last season or the season before that in WSSR. So I don't really remember how we ran, but it's definitely one of those cookie cutter tracks. So we tend to run pretty good there, the 1.5 miles. So looking forward to that. Same with Dover, tend to run up front. I think we finished P2 last season there, so we'll try to pick up a win there. And then Portland, that's just gonna be a different animal. I'm still trying to figure out the road courses pretty good with these cars. So, and that's just a completely new track I have to learn with the new curb model and everything. So it's gonna be interesting. It'll probably be pretty bumpy over the curves of these next gens, just like it was tonight. So looking forward to learning a new track and just seeing how we can perform there.
Well, John, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, I got to thank Gridless, my brother, for making this this awesome scheme tonight. Thomas was talking about it being like a kind of like a Kyle Busch kind of throwback, so that was kind of like his NOS scheme. So that kind of I can't unsee it now. So it's pretty cool. I like the scheme. I think we'll probably be running this as the primary of the season. We got a thing Nexus, all those guys up there. Everybody at Nightmare Fuel is pretty fun. We have Pete Tart on the team now, so he had a pretty decent run go until he got in some late wrecks. Not specifically on the team, but like an affiliate. So we're trying to get him towards the front, running good each week. So yeah, overall, we're just looking to put some more races together. I don't know if we'll have the team championship after this week, but yeah, we're gonna keep working on that for the season.
Well, John, congratulations on this performance here tonight and coming away second, and good luck next week at Dover.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Well, last season's champion, might have had some bad luck at moments, but scaves away with second after all the incidents he was involved. That's quite impressive. Another driver that we saw being involved with a couple of incidences, bounced around at times, but comes away with a third place finish. We have the 74 of Nick Crawford with us. Nick, it's Sam and Richard up in the booth. I mean, third place for yourself. At moments, we saw you creeping your way up into the top 10, top 5, and then caught up in some wrecks. What was it like trying to march your way and have a chance for a top 3 finish?
Yeah, first of all, I know everybody loves this track. I hate it. I did not have fun. It was just a race of attrition. We said it before, and we knew it was going to happen. And it was confirmed pretty early with a wreck on lap 1 right after the start finish. But it was kind of like a lottery. You get in a wreck, and then you slowly cycle to the front. I think everybody at least took 2 turns going from the back to the front tonight. So I just got lucky being there at the end.
Yeah, great run from you, Nick. You were definitely caught in a lot of stuff back there in the middle of the field. But, I mean, a strong finish for you tonight. Like you say, you didn't like this track. I mean, did that kind of play into you benefiting finishing third as you were just kind of trying to take it easy and stay out of the trouble and the mess that was the middle of the field?
Yeah, I just never felt comfortable. I don't race this track a lot in any other car, and I can see why people like the appeal. It's an old track. It's got the bumps. It's got character, but I don't think the next gen was designed for this track. So I don't know if I was ever really trying to stay safe or anything. I was just never felt comfortable. I never felt like I had the choice. So it was just kind of going with the flow wherever it took me.
I mean, Nick, we were coming up to some tracks that we've seen you have success in the past here in the WSSR. We've got ourselves Dover, Texas, and then Portland. Texas has been one of your best tracks, and a lot of the mile and a halves have been your best track in this series. What is your confidence knowing that these are the upcoming tracks, with that being Dover, Texas, and Portland?
Dover, I'm afraid of. Texas, I think will be okay. Portland, I've never been to. I've seen it twice in real life on TV, so I have no idea what to expect there. I know there's a very sharp turn right at the end of a straightaway, so it doesn't sound fun. So we're just going to go with the flow, kind of like with these tracks, and hopefully get on to the other tracks that are a little more fun in this car. Or, you know what, they might be fun for me. I don't think I raced over yet in this car, so we'll see.
Oh, I cannot wait to see. Nick, congratulations for third here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Absolutely. Check out Lo-Fi Latte on YouTube. Check out Sim Precision Prints for all your 3D prints. That's Zachary Hall with his business right there. Shout out to my beautiful wife, as always. I can't wait to go hang out with her right after this. And then I got to shout out Cedric Hunter. Him and his wife are getting married on Saturday, and we are flying to Canada to see it. And we're going to take my good friend Christopher Norris with us. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Also, shout out to my teammates. They had a rough night tonight, but we'll bounce back. These are some good tracks for them coming up.
Well, congratulations, Nick, again on third here tonight. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Dover.
Thank you.
As we move from third place, we go down to fourth again. Talking about how he self-sabotaged early on. He's been trying to get better at not doing it. Well, you could call it a kind of a redemption run after missing out on stage bonus points. He comes away with fourth here tonight and looked like one of the fastest cars there late. We have Douglas Newbegin with us. Douglas, it's Sam and Richard up in the booth. Congratulations on fourth and recovering up to get a top 5 finish. How are you feeling after your run here tonight?
Pretty good, honestly. Really roller coaster as a racer. I felt like I drove through the field about 3 times. I think, honestly, everybody in the top 5, top 10 probably did the same thing. But yeah, definitely a pretty exciting racer. Kind of hated that the caution came out there. Felt like I was going to get second, pretty much locked up. But Yeah, definitely pretty fun. I'd say it was fun. I mean, I say that and I didn't get wrecked really too bad, so I know probably everyone outside of the, top 10 probably says they hate it, but it was interesting. I definitely enjoyed it a little bit.
Yeah, it was great to see you finally finishing up there at a really strong race there, Douglas. And, last season you were really fast almost every single race you were in, but it was always something you were either getting involved in or kind of stepping on your own toes in a race. How are you feeling now going into season 11, and how you plan on tackling the rest of this season?
Yeah, I definitely felt like that was definitely the Achilles heel last season, but I don't know, I feel like I got good teammates again this time around, so definitely going to work with them a bunch. And I don't know, I just feel like this season, I definitely feel like it's going to be a little better for me, so just kind of got that feel into it, so kind of going to limit my mistakes, maybe just take it a little nicer, I guess, here and there. And yeah, I definitely feel like this is just building momentum. Kind of last week I got wrecked out, but it still felt like I was going to do really good. My field games, whole 9 yards. But yeah, schedule suits me pretty well here with the next upcoming races. So I'm kind of just, pick up the momentum, keep it going, and hopefully we'll be in the playoffs in no time. So.
I mean, speaking about momentum and tracks that you've ran well in, that's our next destination is Dover. We've seen yourself and Lucky Ducks as a whole always perform there well. What is it like when you see on the schedule that there are tracks that you're like, all right, I've won there before, or I've performed there well before, and how do you mentally prepare going to those tracks? Is it just carry that same momentum, or is it new each time you go to those courses?
It depends, honestly, the setup. I mean, I feel like most of the time, if it's a track I know well, like Dover, I feel like I know pretty well with the bumps. I feel like it kind of make, it work no matter what the setup is necessarily. Just kind of just go out and practice a little bit just to make sure. But when I see those races, I just know that's okay, I could look at the other races on the schedule where I think I might not be as good, and I could kind of go okay, it's okay if I do bad on that race, I got this race to pick it back up. It's okay if I do bad here, I got this race to pick it up, So, I mean, it mainly kind of plays in, I'd say, more to the playoffs where I'm looking at the schedule, kind of going with that mindset going. But for the regular season, it's just more of okay, this is going to be a good recovery race for me. I know I have to get stage points here, and I could get them. So just focus on those. So.
Well, it was an awesome rebound for yourself, Douglas, to come away fourth here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor's now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, shout out Lucky Ducks. Great team. Love all those guys there. Always fun race with them. Tiltify, main sponsor of the cars time around. Shout out to that. No Kid Hungry, Team Rubicon, Sunoco, SimRap Market, providing the excellent base for this scheme. If you want something like that, or pretty much any Lucky Duck scheme you saw on the broadcast today, you can find them on simrap.com. Yeah, Freaky Fast, you guys putting it on. You guys are awesome, always. Love always watching the stream back. Everybody else that puts it on. So, yeah, pretty fun. So, yeah, shout out to everybody. So, we'll just shout out to everybody. So.
Well, thank you for giving us such a great show to call. That will be the 7 machine of Douglas Newbegin coming away fourth here tonight. Congratulations on that run, Douglas, and good luck next week at Dover.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully we'll be back up in here. Hopefully for 3 spots up we'll be back up here for. So we'll see.
That certainly would be good. So have a good one, Douglas.
You too. See you guys.
As that will finish up our interviews here tonight. You can hear some drivers excited, some hating the fact that we're leaving this track. Others can't wait to go to the next one, which is going to be Dover. But before we leave the Rock, let's take a look at our unofficial results here tonight. We saw a lot of changes. We heard from almost every driver. They had to march their way through multiple times here tonight. And it was ultimately Ryan Kelly in the 3 machine coming away with the win. John Forrest comes away second. Third is going to be Nick Crawford and Douglas Newbegin fourth. Those are your 4 drivers we got to talk to here tonight. But also other great recovery runs. Vincent Sora takes 5th. Tanner in the 78. I mean, Richard, I'll bring you in on this one. I don't know how the 78 had a car to be there at the end, and 2 comes away with a top 10 with all of the woes he had this evening.
That's a very good point about this race. We saw him in quite a few incidents throughout the entire race, and it honestly, a lot of the times, didn't look like he had a lot of damage anyway. Like you were saying, the cars weren't going super fast to have terminal damage a lot of the time, so he was able to spend the time, get the damage repaired, and just played his cards right with tire strategy, and is able to be up there at the end in the top 5. So a great run for Tanner in his opening race with the WSSR VRS Cup.
What an opening debut to come away with the top 10. 7th, we find Gavin Rogers. 9th, Shane Tarian, who we saw him falling back, able to recover for 8th. 9th is going to be Ross Tatum, our stage winner. And finishing out the top 10 will be the 31 of Thomas Green, finishing out our top 10. And you look at the rest of the leaderboard. Richard, who are some of those drivers that kind of stick out to you as we look through our 43 drivers that finished here tonight?
Yeah, Seth Knoll finishing 12th, still a good run for him. He was really strong early in the race and just slowly kept sliding back due to tire strategy, which is kind of off the strategy like all the faster the guys that finished further ahead. So still able to squeak out a 12th place finish for Seth. Did a great job. Cedric Hunter getting 16th, another great run for Cedric. But I think one of the bigger ones is Larry Yingling falling all the way back to 29th. We've seen him running up front majority of the race, missing a lot of those wrecks. Missed one huge wreck on the front stretch that he kind of caused himself, but again, was just always on that back foot when it came to tire strategy, was just never on the right tire rotation, and just eventually fell all the way back to the 29th position. So unfortunate run for Larry.
And some of the other drivers that really fell out, and some big drivers that were hoping for better days. Cody Reed, he had a lot of woes. Zach Hull falling to 34th. Zach even putting in the chat of the stream, after 2 races, 42nd position in points. That is a tough start. Here's some of the last drivers. Simon Garcia, internet connection issues. Ben Kinney just could not catch a break. And Ryan Ferraro caught up in our second caution and first caution of the day. Just too much damage to get repaired. The lucky thing you could say for Zach, we saw a similar thing happen to another driver that made the playoffs, and that was Vincent Sora, who had a terrible first 3-4 races of the season and just rattled off consistent top 10, top 5 finishes, and was there to make the playoffs and was almost there for a chance to win the championship last season. So our season 9 champ, Zach Hall, his hopes aren't over, but there's a lot of drivers that maybe hoped that tonight was better. Still a long season, a lot of races ahead of us, but a series that's coming to a close here pretty short. I mean, we only got a couple of more races left. That's our Monday night truck series, the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series. Monday nights for the next 4 weeks. It is the countdown to who's going to win the chase. They had race number 1 at Talladega. That was a barn burner. If you have not seen the ending of this Monday night Talladega race, you need to go back. Honestly, the last 7 laps were just pure chaos. The final lap, we thought we had 4 different people with the chance to win, and it came down to the final 200 feet on who got the gold there late. Coming up this Monday, though, it's the second race of 5 in that chase format. They're heading to Phoenix. That one looks like it could be a chaotic one as well. It is the current Phoenix layout, open dog leg with the trucks. Who's going to be unsettled and who can keep it all together? You'll have to find out this upcoming Monday. And then next week, we're here, Dover, race number 3. Richard, crazy to see that we're already 3 races in.
Yeah, 3 races into season 11, VRS Cup. I mean, these guys, it feels like this season just started, but it feels like they are racing as if it's the middle and are wanting every point possible to make the playoffs. But they're putting on a good show, and next week at Dover is going to be even more chaotic, I think. It's going to be about the same style racing as you saw here at Rockingham. Slight differences as it's an actual oval. It is higher banks, a lot more speed, and a concrete surface. So tire wear is definitely going to play a factor with those cars there at Dover. And we'll have to see if Ryan Kelly, another tire-saving track, can end up on top.
Yeah, I'm curious if it's going to carry over from the drivers that succeeded here tonight, if they're going to succeed again next week. But we also want to say thank you again for the final time here tonight for the sponsors that are big parts to why these leagues are able to succeed as well as they do. Big thank you to the title sponsor for the WSSR Cup Series, being VRS Virtual Racing School. WSSR is partnered up and is proud to be presented by the Virtual Racing School, as they are the premier online training platform to help sim racers aimed to elevate their performance. Head on over to VRS.com, to virtualracingschool.com to check out ways that they can help you with their mission, which their mission is pretty clear. It's to improve every racer with the tools and knowledge that they have to reach their fullest potential, whether it's on the virtual track or beyond. Thank you so much to VRS for being our title sponsor for Season 11 of the WSSR Cup Series. Also want to say thank you to GTR Simulators. If you go to gtrsimulators.com, you can check out all their variety of awesome racing rigs. They've got partnered up with F1 teams. They've got small compact rigs, bigger rigs. It's up to you to check to see what fits in your budget and as well what can fit in your room. To get yourself started, head on over to gtrsimulators.com and remember to use the promo code WSSR at checkout for any purchases over $100 or more. Don't miss your chance to upgrade your rig and race like the pros. Also, shout out to our trophy provider, TrophySmack.com. They've got a wide range of different trophies for you. As football season, I know the draft ended a few weeks ago, but some people, they have sports fantasies with baseball or other sports, or sometimes maybe you're just looking for fun trophies to have. Trophy Smack's got you covered with rings, belts, trophies, and more. Just head over to TrophySmack.com. Check out their wide variety of custom trophies that you can customize to your own liking, or pre-made trophies. With the promo code of WSSR Smack at checkout, you get 10% off on your purchases from Trophy Smack. And our final couple of sponsors we want to say thank you to is Sim Precision Prints. You heard from Nick Crawford. It is a personal 3D printing simulator gear and one-of-a-kind pieces built by Zach Hall, who's gotten himself a 3D printer. That you need to check out some of the amazing products that he's come up with that you can get. Again, head on over to Sim Precision Prints and use the promo code simprecisionprints.shop and use the promo code WSSR at checkout for 10% off on $50 or over purchases. Precision Prints, performance delivered. That is Sim Precision Prints for you. And finally, I want to say thank you to our camera provider. That is Whiplash Sim Cams for being our camera provider for all races on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Whew, that was a lot of thank yous to give for an incredible race that went on for way longer than we expected, but we knew it was going to be a long one. We want to say thank you to all those that joined us with Wednesday night. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Richard Wolfsifer, as well as Robert Moyer Jr. and everyone else here from Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you so much for joining with us on your Wednesday night. We cannot wait to see what Dover has for us. The third round of the regular season for Season 11 will be upon us quickly, but if you can't wait until then, we'll see you Monday night for more chase racing action as the ISRC Truck Series heads to Phoenix. Who survives? Who continues to conquer? We'll see you Monday night for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.